Your battery does need to be replaced, we'll help you find the best battery for your vehicle and your budget. Don't wait until your battery is dead. Get it tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Save now on appliances and more at the Truckload event at Lowe's. Get deals on select major appliances and take home what you buy same day. And save an additional 10% on all in-store clearance appliances. Plus, get 10% off in-stock kitchen cabinets with a $1,000 minimum purchase and save even more on clearance cabinets in-store. Shop the Truckload event in-store or online today. Must ask cashier to apply discount at time of purchase. Exclusions apply while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. About 119 to 125.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Monday. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Kev Nash, you know what? It is January, and you know what that means for me?
What's that?
It's crow eating season.
Back-to-back years?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Off and rolling. Hope you had a good weekend. Did you do anything big this weekend?
Yeah, several my driveway. Didn't even know it was supposed to snow like that on Sunday. So quick story before we get started. Sunday morning, I get up. I'm like, yep, sticking to this workout routine that I've been on. I'm going to stick with it. You know, beach body. You know what I'm saying? Summer body coming soon. So I get up. It's snowing. Little flurries. It's like 7 in the morning. Nothing bad. You know, hey, it's Ohio. It snows here. Go to the gym for like maybe a little over an hour. When I leave the gym, roads completely trashed. And as I get home, I asked the wife, was it supposed to snow today? She's like, I didn't see anything. And then we get the winter weather advisory all the way up until 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock comes and goes. We shovel the driveway at halftime of the Cincinnati Bengals and Bills game. And that was my Saturday, or Sunday, rather.
Yeah, see, I was not aware that this kind of snow was coming because I went to the grocery store over the weekend. There's still plenty of bread. There's still plenty of milk.
That's how you judge it.
I'm like, I always start questioning if I go to the stores and there's like empty shelves. I'm like, thinking like everyone's planning, stockpiling everything for this storm that came. But I actually kind of enjoyed it. I did nothing this past weekend. And as I said, now that I'm in my 30s, I enjoy doing nothing. I watched a lot of great football. Yes, I watched the Bengals beat the Bills. Everyone was on me because you didn't post anything about it. I'm like, y'all get mad at my post. And then when I don't post, you get mad. You can't have it both ways. But nonetheless, off and rolling here on a Monday. Lots of NFL talk today. I don't like to tell people to turn the show off, but I'm assuming everyone loves the NFL. I'm assuming everyone's ready to go and to get rocking here. 3 hours NFL talk coming your way right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. It's funny. I just got back from Great American Ballpark. We had our media luncheon today. I can't believe the caravan's taken off. They'll be making a stop in Dayton this coming up weekend. I'll have more information on that's coming up here around the corner. But it is interesting how much during our media luncheon, how much like the speakers and everything bring up the Bengals and the Bengals' success. And I'm just like, man, you can't use the Bengals' success to try to get us hyped up for Red season. That's not fair. That's not how this works. By the way, are the Bengals a competitor to the Reds or not, in your opinion?
No. I think you have two winners in town, especially in different sports.
This town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Yeah, like in LA or in New York, where you got two football teams. In New York, you got two basketball teams, two hockey teams. LA, you got multiple baseball teams. So yeah, they're competing for the same audience. But the Reds are baseball, the Bengals are football.
Well, that's not what I wanted to open up with. We'll get into that at some point this week, but it had hearing them talk about the Bengals so much during their speeches today. It just got me to thinking, like, I guess from a sports perspective, the community being invested into sports, spending their money on going to games or watching games, that's good. That means fans still will tune in if you have a winner.
Yeah.
But you got it. The key is getting that winner down. No, but that's always key. But nonetheless, all right, let's talk about the winning Cincinnati Bengals. 4 divisional round games over the weekend, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and yesterday's first matchup, of course. I don't want to say it lived up to the bill, if you will. It didn't live up to it because for it to lived up to it, it had to be a classic showdown between two fantastic teams, which there was 2 fantastic teams. There was a showdown, but it didn't live up to the hype, Kev. In fact, I think that while so many people now that, we're all sports gambling degenerates. I saw Shaw say hello to his fellow degenerate gamblers. Hello, Shaw.
Greetings.
Yes. But I remember seeing the line for that. And I'm like, the Bills and Bengals are pretty much dang even. Like, I had no clue who to pick in that. I went with the Bengals. I said it on the show. I was going to pick the Bengals, but the Bengals, I don't even think Bengals fans, even the most cocky of you guys, which you guys are very cocky lately, deservingly so, but whatever. It's nauseating. Even the most cocky of Bengals fans could not have definitively said we are that much better than the Bills. And after yesterday, they are that much better than the Bills. I know the Bills had some injuries, but with the Bengals bringing in that banged up offensive line and it literally having how much of an impact, Kev?
None.
Zero. None. No impact whatsoever. So again, everyone's banged up at this point of the season. It's what you do to overcome it. I think even if the Bills had a more healthy defense, it might have made a little bit of a difference, but not much, because I thought the Bengals looked like the better team from top to bottom, from special teams to offense to defense to coaching. I mean, the Bills are a great organization. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback. I don't think it always has to turn into which quarterback's better than the other, but that conversation's being had today, and it's easy to roll with Joe Burrow over the other. But do you think Bills fans feel bad that they have Josh Allen and not Joe Burrow? No. But that game yesterday, I think, quieted a lot of doubters with the Bengals, or at least those who still had question marks for this team. And then heading into a game with the Chiefs, which we'll get to in a bit, with the banged-up Patrick Mahomes, I mean, my goodness, this could be back-to-back seasons where we see the Cincinnati Bengals playing in the Super Bowl. So, interesting. I don't have a whole lot of takeaways from it. How much of I heard the show earlier today talking about, how much of it was the Bengals playing really well and how much of it was the Bills playing bad. I mean, I think it's a combination. You could say that about any game. It was a combination of both. The Bills did not look good on either side of the ball. A lot of that was the pressure and the stress that offense puts on your defense. I mean, pick your poison. I mean, if you slow down Jamar Chase, you got to deal with Higgins, and Hurst had a huge game yesterday too. I mean, it's a lot of guys that aren't your main hitters. It's not always the Boyds, Higgins, and Chases. It's the Hursts of the world who are thriving off the other guys being on the field. And then kudos to Joe Mixon, who I can't stand right now, because this dude, all he does is talk, and talk. But if you're going to talk, the problem I had with him talking is he was very average to start the season, below average, not living up to expectations. In fact, the lack of a run game held this team back to start the season. So I get annoyed when he talks. But if you're going to talk, you went up against the top 6 run defense in the NFL, and he put 100 yards on him, and he lived up to it yesterday. I have no negative comments about the Bengals on the field, because I thought that they just literally overwhelmed the Bills. They dominated the Bills. And right now, man, I hate to say it, and I know listeners don't hate to hear it, but I think the Bengals are going to beat the Chiefs this coming up weekend, especially with that high ankle sprain with Patrick Mahomes. They're one-dimensional. They're balanced with the run game, the Chiefs are, but they rely so much on Patrick Mahomes. If he's not 100%, you saw how much he dipped off against the Jaguars after he came back after that injury. Oofa. All I know is the Bengals, I think this is going to be back-to-back seasons in the Super Bowl, and it's crow-eating season.
I'm going to wait until Friday to make my official picks, not only for the AFC, but the NFC Championship game, because I really just don't know where to go. But I got to give a lot of props. I mean, a ton of props to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. That starting offensive line, who was without 3 starters, they were magnificent. Joe Burrow got touched twice. He got touched twice the entire game, outside of him breaking the pocket and scrambling for I think he had a 13-yard pickup, but he got touched twice. You know why quarterbacks like a Joe Burrow are so great is because the guys up front are doing their job. And last year he was able to be great with the guys up front not doing their job. So when you go out there with backups playing great football, you're able to scan the field. You're able to hit the guys in stride. You're able to hit the guys on the money because you're not getting pressure. You're not getting touched. You didn't hear Ed Oliver's name at all. You didn't hear Shaq Lawson's name at all. You heard the linebackers. You heard the safeties making a lot of tackles because the guys are catching it in space and making plays. Those first 2 drives by the Cincinnati Bengals, I was like, uh-oh. Like, we got Bills, y'all got a problem here because you can't stop them. And we talk about efficiency in the playoffs. With I sent you one of the prop bets, and you was like, yeah, supposed to get some bad snow. And the way they ripped up and down that field, I thought immediately, okay, Buffalo's going to do the exact same thing that Cincinnati did, because they got a ton of weapons as well. They got Gabe Davis, obviously Diggs. They got a tight end of their own, Knox. I'm like, yo, these are mirror images of each other on offense. And the Cincinnati Bengals defense just was like, nope, you're not going to do it. And it was kind of weird because it was like what we talked about in the pre-show meeting. It was like, have you ever seen a game that was just simply so in control the entire game? Like, they're not coming back. I never felt for 1 second after the second quarter that Buffalo was going to make a comeback. I was like, I really don't think they can. Like, whenever the Bengals need a first down, they get it. And it wasn't those explosive plays that we saw last year from the Cincinnati Bengals. It wasn't those 50-yard bombs, 80-yard bombs. It was like, hey, we're just going to take you 8 yards at a time. If it's the pass, if it's the run, we're just going to take 8-yard chunks. So kudos to the Cincinnati Bengals offense, defense, and special teams. They had a magnificent game. I definitely think they had the performance of the weekend for a team.
Ron Broadstock on Facebook, Kev, he goes, I truly believe the Bills have been overrated. Also, that Monday, no game was a good tease. Also, the Monday night game. Sorry, sometimes, he goes, the Monday night game was a good tease for what happened yesterday. Let's be clear. I think to go back to that Monday night game, the Bengals moved the ball. They picked up where they left off.
Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. Buffalo moved the ball in Cincinnati pretty easily in that game, too. I know it was only one possession. I know they got a field goal out of it. I mean, my goodness, if they would have scored a touchdown, you guys still would be saying how average that they were. I don't believe Buffalo was overrated. I believe that they played a bad game and Cincinnati played a very good game. I think if they played again, it's a lot closer than that. Buffalo could still come out on top, but that's not taking anything away from Cincinnati. Cincinnati's the real deal because this is year 2. What drove me nuts about I got to wait and see it kind of guy. Well, I waited and I saw it last season. I haven't been as critical of the Bengals this year because I think, like most people, we believe what we see now. Bengals fans, of course, homers, you see it right away. You think you see it right away. Your team does no wrong. But that's not the case here. So we've seen this 2 years in a row. I don't think Buffalo is an overrated football team. I believe it's a team that injuries it does play an impact. I know we have the excuse Bell and all this other stuff.
It does.
But people say no excuses. Well, there are maybe not excuses, but there are reasons that they weren't as dominant at the end of the season as they were to start the season. But they are due for some criticism. They played a very poor game. They did not make any adjustments, and they seem to be kind of coming out. The stitching seems to be coming apart now. Diggs throwing a temper tantrum throughout the game. The only thing I tell Bengals fans is, be careful how much you poke at the Bills, because that could be the Bengals here in 2 years. Once you pay your quarterback and you don't have as many weapons. Josh Allen does not have as many weapons as Joe Burrow does. That's not taking anything away from Burrow, by the way. I'm just saying that's the future for the Bengals. Less weapons. It's easy. Everyone's smiling, and those two do the weird little pinky finger thing and all that stuff. Oh, they're so adorable. They're so cute. Everything's fun and rolling when you're winning. Well, how do you look when you're losing? Well, the Bengals haven't lost in 2 years. This group hasn't lost. All they do is win. We don't know what they look like when they lose, and I might be looking forward to it a little bit, but I know no one wants to think that way, but be careful with poking at the Bills, because the Bills are where the Bengals are going to be here in a few years, where they're going to look really good some games and not so good others because they don't have as many weapons. But I think their injuries caught up with them. But I also think no Dayball, I'm seeing that coming in the comment section as well. That's having a huge impact on Josh Allen. But let's remember, he was an MVP candidate to about week 7 when he busted those ribs. He's still playing through that. That's another excuse. I'll gladly ring the bell. I'm not ready to bury the Bills. I don't think they're overrated. I think they'll be a Super Bowl contender again next year, and who knows. But for right now, there's only one team that's the most consistent team in the NFL right now is Cincinnati. Every win looks the same. Every loss, or not loss, but every win looks the same. And even when certain parts of the ball struggle somewhat out. Last week, the offense was not great. The defense was lights out, right? And then yesterday, defense was okay. Not okay. It was great. It really, in situational, situational defense, they were outstanding. They never let Josh Allen get in any kind of rhythm. That offense for the Bills could not get in any kind of rhythm. But they made enough plays towards the end to kind of pull away, handle the clock very well. And that Zach Taylor, I'm a big fan of his because I was a big non-fan of his to start. But I've never seen a coach turn things around like that.
I never heard somebody say they're a big fan of somebody in such a way that it's like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm a big fan
because his coaching staff. I just remember when he was hired, everyone, including me. And it's true. He didn't have enough connections in the league to make enough to make an impressive enough coaching staff. A coaching staff that, after making a few tweaks, has this team in potentially a game away from back-to-back Super Bowls. Like Anarumo. That guy, how he's not being rumored for more head coaching opportunities is just astounding to me. The job that he's done. This defense isn't the sexiest on paper. Hell, statistically, they're an average defense. But this is the second postseason, Kev, where they flipped that switch defensively, and they are just overwhelming opponents. So, I don't really have a whole lot. I don't have anything negative to say about the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll get to the only negative thing I should say, about their personalities that are driving me a little crazy. But on the field, Kev, I think that they are I would say the Niners are the favorite to win the Super Bowl of all the teams left, but the quarterback situation for them makes me a little hesitant. It's the quarterback situation for the Bengals that has me saying they're the team I would put my money on right now, just when you consider everything that's happening with all of these teams right now. Philly, of course, no disrespect to them, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. What would be a more entertaining Super Bowl right now? What would be the most entertaining Super Bowl matchup would be what?
I think the most entertaining would be Philly Bengals.
Philly Bengals, from star quarterbacks to weapons on both sides of the ball. Yes, and they both were taken in the same draft too, on top of that. So that would be very interesting to see how all that kind of turns around.
Something I wanted to ask you about, or talk about rather, 30 first downs.
It was
30
death by a million paper cuts.
Downs. That's crazy. Like, that means they have the ball and you don't. And I talk about this all the time because, hey, we love the deep ball. Everybody wants to make a 40-yard touchdown because it's flashy, it's fun, or take a bubble screen and take it 80 or a 90-yard run. Like, that gets you on Sports Center. That gets you top plays because you made something crazy happen. No, it doesn't get you on Sports Center. Third and two rushes, first down. 3rd and 5 passes. That don't get you on Sports Center. It's boring. Yep. It's boring. That's not flashy. But when you possess the ball like that and you're super efficient, the other team gets no rhythm. And another player I want to highlight, Cam Taylor-Britt, the rookie out of Nebraska. The slight inkling of the Bills getting back in the game. Gabe Davis down the left sideline. He has him beat. And he goes up. He has the ball in his hand. He karate chops us out of there. Incomplete. Punt. And then he later gets an interception in that game. So he definitely should get a game ball for the Bengals, man. So I wanted to make sure I shouted out the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals and shout out Cam Taylor-Britt because he had a great game for a rookie. Not for a rookie, just in general.
But even more so because he's a rookie. Yeah. And I mean, this is why the Bengals' success, they can sustain it moving forward, even after paying some of these guys, because as long as they keep hitting on these draft picks, something they weren't doing for years before, and all of a sudden, just the flip of the switch, all of a sudden, here we go. Another thing about that yesterday's game, outside of, again, we compliment Joe Burrow and what he does at the quarterback position, but he picked up multiple first downs with his legs, including 6 carries for 31 yards. I mean, that's a lot for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's not a running quarterback, and that's the thing that's interesting, but he is, athletic enough to pick up yards whenever he needs to, and he's elusive enough to slide when he needs to, run out of bounds. But I think the main reason they won yesterday, Kev, you talked about those 30 first downs. Joe Mixon. In the run game, Joe Mixon and Pirine combined for 27 carries and 138 yards yesterday. But a lot of those first downs, I think I saw a stat earlier, I think Joe Mixon was responsible for 7 or 8 of those 30 first downs yesterday on the ground alone, or the run game was.
Crazy.
That's how you extend drives. That's how you just kind of suck the air out of the stadium. Because, I mean, I'm sure that atmosphere, which, by the way, it pains me to say this too, it's also impressive. To go on the road, to go to Buffalo, to dominate the atmosphere in Buffalo. I used to make fun of Bengals fans. I think there are a lot of them new. I think a lot of y'all are new. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, where were y'all? Not even too much. I'm just saying. But to bring that atmosphere on the road, you know how annoying it is for me as a non-Bengals fan to hear Houday constantly drowning out the broadcast, which some of y'all are happy about with Tony Romo on the call, by the way. But the fact that Houday chants were drowning out Tony Romo in Buffalo.
I know it's some people from the city that made that drive up.
So do I. Quite a few people were sending in pictures of them being live in Cincinnati or Buffalo yesterday. That's true fandom right there. I mean, Absolutely. I was too lazy to go down to the local sports bar to watch a game. So good for you. Good for you.
What a game, man. I know we're talking a ton of Cincinnati Bengals, but on the flip side, what do you do if you're the Buffalo Bills? Is it time to say, like, all right, we got to retool things, not obviously blow everything up? I mean, you won 13 games this year. You were in the playoffs, unlike your team or my team.
Why'd you start with my team?
Because you guys were in last.
Yes.
But, like, do you have to figure out, like, all right, we got to give, I hate this phrase, Josh Allen, quote unquote, more help, because he does have a lot of good offensive weapons on the outside. But do you have to retool things and say, like, all right, we can't depend on him to be our leading passer and our leading rusher. Let's start using these running backs like Singletary and Cook more in the run game, because, like, they never got into any rhythm. Nobody ever respects a play action fake because they don't run the ball. Your safeties don't have to come down to the box because, hey, man, they don't ever run it. So if they actually do run it, we'll let the linebackers get them for a 10-yard gain, but they never run the ball. So I think that they need to recalibrate things in Buffalo to say, hey, not going to be out here running the ball 35 times, but maybe 20, 25. I mean, it's just alarming, man, that they only had 19 carries, especially when the game was still relatively close, where you don't have to pass the ball every single down.
Yeah, Josh Allen threw the ball 42 times yesterday. Okay, 32 times, completed 25 of those passes. I mean, what's crazy is him and Joe Burrow, statistically, Joe Burrow threw 2 touchdowns, no picks, no touchdowns, 1 pick for Allen, but they moved the ball at the same rate pretty much. But one quarterback just looks unstoppable, and the other one just looked like he was having to force everything. My thing is this. I think they need to improve that run game, obviously. It was improved. They had no run game last year outside of Josh Allen.
Baby steps.
Singletary and Cook have done a very good job this season. But let's be clear, they did not put enough points up on the board yesterday. And again, this is more of me having to eat crow. But I think some of that, you got to credit that Bengals defense.
Yeah.
The Bills have playmakers. They're not a top 5 explosive offense in the league if they don't have playmakers. And I think that they have quite a few weapons. Of course, Knox is fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously Stephon Diggs, he may not be in Buffalo moving forward after what happened over the weekend. Gabe Davis is unbelievable. And how about Beasley? I'm not a fan of these players who keep retiring, wink, wink, and then coming back for all the fun. I'm not a big fan of that, but if there's a player out there that can help my team that does it, more power to you. But he's made some big catches throughout the playoffs, and he had some big catches yesterday when the Bills needed it. Here's what the Bills need to do. That defense is supposed to be this tough and posing. That defense got embarrassed yesterday. The defense is the problem. I would be more alarmed about that defense because the whole reason the offense couldn't get in any kind of rhythm yesterday is because the Bengals dominated the time of possession. They dominated the clock. The 30 first downs every time that it felt like, the Bills are going to get a big stop and get the ball back. And I mean, it was 17-7 for a while, Kev. It felt like everyone's talking about how much it was a blowout, how dominating it was. They did dominate the game, but they didn't dominate the scoreboard until later on in the game. You know what I mean? There was a stretch where it was 17-10, and then it was 17-7, and then 17-10. They dominated the Bills, but they didn't dominate the scoreboard.
Right.
They pulled away late. They win 27-10 when it's all said and done. But let's be clear, that defense did not let the Bengals get off the field. Or they just kept the Bengals on the field. It was driving me crazy. Buffalo could not get a stop to save their lives. I think that they need to be focused more on that defensive side of the ball in the offseason, which they tried. They got Von Bell last offseason.
Is that what it is?
Not Von Bell. Von Miller.
Is that what it is? Is say, hey, man, next year Von Miller will be back. Russo will be a year older. Will be perfectly fine. Is that the mindset you think they're going to go with?
Yes, because look at the teams that are left right now. What are they? It's the dominating defenses. Chiefs are the least dominating of all the defenses left, but they have dominant pass rushers.
Yeah.
The Niners, dominant pass rushers. The Eagles, dominant pass rushers. The Bengals, dominant pass. Like the Bills need to continue to. Now, they're banged up. So this is why I give them an incomplete because they failed to convert defensively out there, but they didn't have all their weapons. They got to get healthy and they got to add more weapons on the defensive side. If I'm the Bills fan, I'm fine with those weapons that they threw out there this year. Maybe a change of philosophy on the offense of trying to get the run game more acclimated. Stop letting your quarterback eat, get all those licks constantly.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But all right, Bengals fans, you've heard from us. Let's hear from you. 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Bengals win 27-10, back to the AFC Championship game for the second straight season. I told you I was very nice about your team. There's not a whole lot of criticism I have. The only criticism I have is what I'm going to have for you on the other side. The Bengals are driving me crazy, and there's one thing that they're doing wrong that I cannot stand. That is really irritating me, and I think a lot of non-Bengals fans will agree. I'll talk about that on the other side. 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy, a high near 35. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy and cold, a low near 25. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
When you can't stop There's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
You wouldn't climb the Rockies with just one boot. You wouldn't go in a rainstorm with half an umbrella. And you wouldn't go through a car wash with your convertible roof half closed. But if you haven't gotten the updated booster, you're only partly protected from COVID-19. It works against Omicron and the latest variants. That's especially important if you're over 65. So get the new booster and get fully protected. A message from the Ohio Department of Health.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Dayton and the Miami Valley enjoy buying products made in the USA. Unfortunately, many HVAC products are now made in the communist country of China, and that's where the profits go too. McAfee systems come from the states of Indiana, South Carolina, Iowa, and Texas, and we're proud of it. 32 years strong. Get an estimate online at mcair.com.
Urology Specialists of Ohio are here for you. Men, your good health is important to them. Their knowledge of specific male anatomy, prostate issues, and how to help in your healing is their main focus. Urology Specialists of Ohio are now accepting new patients at all locations: Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. They have been in practice for over 20 years with over 80 years of experience between 5 physicians. Call today. They can schedule your appointment in a timely manner with little wait time. Online at urologyspecialistofohio.com.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
And we are back. Justin Kinner and Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Cincinnati Bengals advanced to the AFC Championship game with a rematch for the Kansas City Chiefs for the second straight season in the AFC Championship. Bengals looked impressive, more than impressive yesterday. They didn't just beat the Bills, they dominated the Bills, and that's where we're at right now. A lot of divisional action over the weekend. We'll get to some of those other games coming up here in a moment. But, I was fair. I opened up the show. I said, hey, look, it's crow eating season. All right. I have no complaints about the Cincinnati Bengals on the field. My complaints are now starting to be about the Bengals off the field, because the one thing I do know, and again, fan is short for fanatic, but the way that the Bengals quarterback personality and the personality of the team and the coach continuing to cry, by the way, I like Zach Taylor, the crying publicly is starting to really kind of get under my skin a bit, because I promise you this, if the roles are reversed, if the Cleveland Browns were in the same situation as the Bengals and their quarterback was making comments in the post game but taking a shot at the NFL, if their running back was constantly, making headlines with the comments that he's making to the media, you guys would just lose your mind. You would just never let me sleep at night. You would find a way to make me as miserable as possible, because it would nauseate you. So don't gaslight me. Don't act like I'm crazy here for pointing out really
using those cool new terms.
That therapy of mine, Let's be clear. You guys are not going to make me out to be the bad guy in this, because I feel like if Josh Allen did this, and I was saying it about Josh Allen. Oh, by the way, I did something over the weekend as a test, and y'all fell for it. You don't even realize it. There was a funny meme that was put out after the Jags lost to the Chiefs. And it was a meme. It wasn't really a meme. It was like a cartoon, Kev, of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes eating at Waffle House with their quarterback, of course, Trevor Lawrence, mopping the floors in the background. Oh, man, you guys thought it was so funny. But am I a Jags hater for posting that? I don't think I'm a Jags hater. I said, oh, this is funny. If the roles are reversed, like when the Chiefs beat the Bengals this weekend, and there's some kind of like at Waffle House, or not Waffle House, at the Skyline or something, because, they always make fun of the spaghetti stuff, right? Will I be funny then? Y'all thought I was funny over the weekend. I'll be a hater this weekend. So I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy, but hear me out. You guys would agree with me if Patrick Mahomes was doing the same things as Burrow, if Josh Allen and others, you would all have a problem with it. But again, you're not wrong for defending your dude, but I'm not wrong for pointing out that y'all are hypocrites. My only complaint is this. A friend of mine's a season ticket holder for the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, somehow we're able to overcome our differences. It's great. But he got an email from the Cincinnati Bengals last week after the Jags had beat the Chargers. If there was in the off chance that the Bengals beat the Bills, I even predicted that. There was a good chance of that, but it had the Jags beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Bengals were being urged to buy tickets for a potential AFC Championship game of hosting the Jags. So how come the only team crying about other teams purchasing tickets for the AFC Championship game is the Cincinnati Bengals? Like, I get it. You feel like you were disrespected and all this. I just can't wrap my head around that. I don't see it that way. I don't believe that that's actually what happened here. There was a lot of different things that happened after the Hamlin situation that the Bengals didn't benefit from, but I don't think anyone really benefited from anything. The Bills lost anyways. The Chiefs are basically, they're back for the fifth straight year in the AFC Championship game. It's not like the NFL willed them there. I mean, let's just be clear. My point is Joe Burrow is better than what he was last night, when in the post game he had to end with, oh, better get your refunds. I thought that was classless. I thought it was kind of cheap. I'm not a fan of that. And I feel like if Josh Allen or anyone else would have done that, the Bengals fans would be all over it. And I get how this works. They're not going to bash their own quarterback. But what you're not going to do is bash me for pointing it out. The drama queen stuff's getting old, in my opinion. And I will say the reason they're getting away with it is because they're winning. If you're going to act cocky and arrogant and act that certain way, that's fine, I guess, as long as you're winning. But the thing is, the one thing that the Bengals have going for them is that they've been winning since this whole group got put together. We don't know how they lose yet, Kev. Mm-hmm. And I promise you, they are going to be the most disliked team in the NFL the second that when they start losing, because they're the lovable winners right now, right? When they start losing, Kev, this team's going to be very unlikable. And I'm noticing it. A lot of fans across the NFL are starting to turn on the Bengals because they're getting tired of the cockiness and the arrogance. And I'm seeing it in the comment section. Well, we're winning and it's working. And I know what you're going to say already. I have a feeling. So, and that's fine. And I agree with that. You can do it as long as you're winning. But what you can't do is when you lose, continue to act this way, and it's not going to be received the same. So enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts. But I know this across the league. Teams that act like this are hated, and they're hated bad. And the Bengals team, as soon as they start losing, which I don't anticipate this season, I actually think that they're good enough to win the whole dang thing. And I think if they have a chance to get back to the Super Bowl, they're not going to let it slip through their hands like they did last year against the Rams. I think they're going to complete it this year. But when things start to unravel, this team's going to be the most unlikable team in the league. And I want us to all remember this conversation right here, because I don't like the way they've been acting in the media, the coin flip thing, which you liked, others did. I hated all of that. But to be fair, I'll meet you in the middle somewhere. I hate it because it's them. I hate it because it's the Bengals doing it. If my team was doing it, maybe I would like it. But at the same time, I think I just hate it because it's them. But like, come on, guys, don't gaslight me here. You know, if any other team was doing it, you would hate it too.
For me, it's twofold. One, you're a wrestling fan. They are leaning into it. They're leaning into it. What do they call it? The heel and the baby face. They're leaning into this. This is the image that they're creating for themselves, and they're leaning into it. And then the other part is, we kind of talked about it in the pre-show meeting. This is what crazy athletes do. This is their MO, man. I'm not a crazy athlete. Was barely even an athlete when I did play sports. This is what they do to motivate themselves. You saw the Last Dance documentary. I saw the Last Dance documentary. Some of those stories I heard from Michael Jordan, I've heard them before, but hearing them come out of his mouth and him basically admit that he's a psychopath, it was pretty alarming. And then we get the national championship game with Georgia and TCU, and Kirby Smart tried to convince us, the viewing public, and his players, which he did a good job of doing, that they were the underdog. They've been looked down their whole lives. Half of the team is a 5-star recruit, but they were looked down their entire lives.
They dug from the basement to get it.
Wait, what? Huh? They're disrespecting you. They this, that, and the third. This is what crazy athletes do. So if it's the motivation that they need to perform at their highest level, it is what it is. Yeah, did I think like the refund thing? I was like, man, you don't have to say that, because your team, your people that bought tickets for the Bengals that host the game got to get a refund too. You know what I'm saying? So it's all motivation. And I do think there is a disconnect between player and management. Like the management, they're got to do what they got to do. Coach, he's kind of like in the middle. He's management, but he's in the locker room. So he's going to be in it with his guys to the end. So really don't have a big problem with it, but you are 100% correct. This is what happens in sports. I mean, once a guy starts winning multiple rings and is the face of their league, people turn on him. My mom used to love Patrick Mahomes. Now she hates him. He's won enough already. Like, what? Like, why?
Save some for the rest of us.
Yeah. So that's basically how she is. So like you can get 2, but then after that, I don't like you anymore. So, I mean, Tom Brady's got 6 of them. I remember she rooted for Tom Brady and the Patriots, their first Super Bowl. And then after they won the second one, she's been out on them ever since. Like, they got enough. I want somebody else to win. Like, that's how we are as a people. Like, all right, we'll give you're the new kid on the block. You kind of bring it up in basketball about with guys winning the MVP award.
Yep.
Like after they win the MVP award, no matter if their stats are even better than the year before, we're on to the next. So yeah, this is going to happen if the Bengals win it all or not. Like in 2 years, people are just going to be sick of the Bengals. They're going to be sick of them talking, or they're going to be sick of them winning. Either way, people are going to be sick of them in like 2 years. And to be perfectly honest, I'm sick of them now, but you know, I got to watch the Bengals because it's the show.
So, and yes, you're an AFC North fan.
Yeah.
Well, you're an AFC North team fan. You're a fan of a team in the North.
Yes. I revert back to I am not a Big Ten fan. I'm an Ohio State fan. I am a Steelers fan. I am not an AFC North fan, but I am rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals.
So last thing before we get to the phones, 518-1410, call in, jump in on the conversation. Now, some of y'all are getting your feelings hurt. I've worked on my delivery, on how I deliver my opinions. I haven't called y'all dumb or stupid or anything, okay? Keep that in mind. Like, I'm just telling my opinion about this stuff, okay? So I'm going to keep that in mind moving forward. But the comments coming in, like someone just said I'm a hater. And I'm like, okay, hold on. All right. You know, he's, where to go? Something about 40 minutes. You couldn't do more than 40 minutes. What have I said that is trolling. I don't believe what I just said is trolling, because I believe that if the Steelers were doing this and I'm telling Kev, I don't like your team because blah, 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 would you all be calling in or messaging into the show saying, oh, there goes Kinner being a troll? No, you would just say, yeah, telling him about the Steelers. I went on his big Steelers rant twice when Kev was out. None of y'all were calling me a hater then. You were like, yeah, I hate the Steelers. But when I criticize your team, I'm a troll and I'm a hater. No, that's not how this works. That's not what's going on here. I'm allowed to have that opinion about the team. And let's be clear, as I said, I have a hard time believing that none of y'all would say this about any other team if that any other team acted the way your team is. But kudos to your team for winning. Now, as I pointed out, I know that the Bengals, this might come across trolling, and that's okay. The Bengals last year won their first playoff game in 30 years, and you guys are like, you don't understand how the ticket policy works. Like, you got to start selling tickets for rounds coming up. So you won your first playoff game in 30 years. You guys weren't aware that other teams actually sell tickets like for upcoming rounds, even if they haven't, advanced there yet. I know it was a little bit of a shock. Joe Burrow and you guys don't understand how it works, but now you do. And now we're all on the same page. But no, nonetheless, Bengals looked dominant yesterday. I predicted them to beat the Bills last week on the show, just to be clear. And right now I feel pretty good about them beating the Chiefs. See, give and take. I'm going to get my opinion out there. I know you don't like it, but at the same time, I'm acknowledging how good the Cincinnati Bengals team is. Ron Broadstock said, as Justin sounds like a drama queen, I got called a Karen.
Oh,
sports Karen.
Name calling. Come on.
I know. Let's see. It was good while it lasted. You were doing so good. I know. Jake Whiting says, you live long enough to finally see yourself become the villain. After the years of hell and trash talk from the other teams and fans, it's finally our turn, and we are no longer a joke. Hey, you know what?
Legit.
You're right, Jake. I get that. But with that is going to come more dislike for that team. Now, here's one thing to think about. 60 seconds going back to calls. But Kev, if Bengals fans truly believe that their team is being bullied by the NFL or that they were disrespected by the NFL, do you think that the NFL is going to give them any benefit of the doubt moving forward in any kind of situation where they have to make decisions to benefit them or not? So that's all I'm saying. The constant, oh, enjoy your refunds or better get those refunds. Do you think that comment helps the Bengals? No, it doesn't. The coin flip routine from Joe Mixon, although Kev found it funny and I might have found it a little funny. Do you think that helps the Bengals? Like, constantly poking at the league is not going to do you any favors moving forward. So if you thought, and I don't believe you were, but if you thought you were disrespected before, do you think that's going to help moving forward? I don't. So just keep that in mind. But
yeah, we'll see. There's always that inkling of what is Big Brother doing behind the scenes. We always speculate about what Big Brother is doing behind the scenes with the Patriots, on their run and their destiny and their dynasty and everything like that, because it seemed like whenever they needed something to go their way, it went their way. If it was a call that was a 50-50 call, it went their way. Are those calls going to go to Cincinnati Bengals' way on Sunday when they play the Chiefs? Is a play like, think about it like this. Saturday night, Trevor Lawrence gets decked in the face, a helmet-to-helmet hit. They called it a clean hit. That would have resulted in a first down and a 15-yard penalty, and they would have kept the ball moving. They would have had potential to tie the ball game up. It always seems like, all right, the more popular team, quote unquote, or the team that gets the big ratings always gets those calls to go their way. I don't necessarily believe that the league is behind it pulling the strings, but from a fan's perspective, you can't tell me that, like, oh, they're not doing this to us on purpose. Like, I remember a time where the Pittsburgh Steelers were playing the New England Patriots, and Jesse James caught a pass and dove, broke the pylon. It was a touchdown. They called it a touchdown on the field. They review that, no, incomplete. And like, that's what happens when you play the Patriots in a tight situation. And I always go back to, well, you just got to make it clear. You got to make it clear and evident. That's what you got to do as a player and as a fan, because if you don't, you would drive yourself crazy, because there's plays that happen, especially in games like this, games of this magnitude, that we stress about, we worry about. We're going to be watching with a fine-tooth comb. We're going to be watching on replay. They're going to be showing new angles from every which angle, super slow-mo replay, like yesterday when Jamar caught the touchdown pass.
That's what I was just going to bring up. Yep.
Super slow-mo says it's an incomplete pass. You catch that pass in the backyard, that's a touchdown. Or, like they said on the broadcast, he catches that at the 50-yard line. It's a catch, but since it's in the end zone, it's incomplete, which makes no sense. But, like, those are the things. So everything that we watch from here on out, if it don't go your way, especially Cincinnati Bengals fans or whatever team you're rooting for, you're going to say they're cheating. And that's just the way fans are.
Yeah, and by the way, I know people were mad about that chase. By the rule, that was the right call. by the
By the
rule,
rule, yes.
it was the right call. People I know in the comment section are bringing that up. And when that happened, by the way, if anyone was upset about that, it was me. I bet on, I had the 2 touchdowns.
Me too.
I was jumping up and down. I was like, okay, I bet, about $60 in wagers in that game yesterday. And I had Jamar Chase to be the first touchdown, to get the first touchdown of the game, which happened. I was like, plus $34. Boom. Jamar Chase had that second touchdown catch. I'm like, plus $35. Bam, 70, up 10. Great day. They reversed it. Oh, man. Disrespect of the Bengals, I tell you. But no, based on the call, I will say this, though. You want to know what the most pointless analyst in all of sports is?
Oh, no.
Gene Tessitore. when you could show me the one time, I mean, that dude is just brought on, like, for one, the analysts, like, we are told, like, as when I do play-by-play, that you need to know the rules, you need to know how everything. They already know the rules. So why do I need to have someone come on to tell the rules? And the other thing is, I would love one time to say, yeah, I think he got it wrong. When's the last time Gene Tessitore said, of course he's going to have their back even if they get it wrong? Yeah, well, I would have probably made that same call. Well, that's why you're sitting up here with us. No, not really. Gene was very legendary official. But I think it's the most pointless analyst thing ever.
I see them totally different in college football. And the reason we see them totally different in college football is because the guy in the booth, they're not the same conference officials. Because, like, I think in the national championship game, I think it was like ACC officials or whatever. He's a SEC official. So the rules are obviously the rules of the land, but conference to conference calls games tighter than others. Like, they let you hand fight in the SEC and the Big Ten. They real ticky-tacky in the ACC and the Pac-12. So, like, you get a whole bunch of that type of stuff. They say the kind of like the best referees to have are the Big 12 because they're kind of like streamlined. They're a little bit of both. But when you got a guy that sees it one way and been calling it one way his entire career, and then they jump into another game and they're looking at it from the way they're calling it from their conference, they're going to see it totally different. The only thing in the NFL, everybody's calling it the same. There's no doubt in my mind that whatever referee official was in the booth would have called it an incomplete pass, just like they did ultimately on the field. I just think I'm just not a fan of replay. I don't like replay. I think it slows things down, but I understand the purpose of replay. You can't have a TV product and they're showing replays of an incomplete pass or a catch to the viewer at home, but the referee on the field didn't make the right call. So that's why you have to have instant replay.
518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. William Yelly says he's paid by the NFL to agree with the call, Kenner. I say it every week. Maybe that's what it is. But like I said, I could be wrong. And it's not just Gene. There's other networks that have an analyst come on that's a former referee. But I've never heard an analyst come on and say, yeah, I wouldn't have made that call, or that's the wrong call. It's kind of like, okay. But it does add a little substance to it, whatever. 518-1410. Kev, who we got?
We got Bob, line 1.
What up, Bob? Is this the Bob? Bob, how are you, sir?
It is, man. And, let me just say this, man. It's tough being at the top, man. You always hate it, when you're at the top. Hey, Justin, in line.
Get it out. Come on.
In line with the Bengals, the Bengal players, I had to come cocky, man. I'm sorry, man. I had to do that.
But you do it well. I like when you call in happy and all, like, look, you full of energy and personality. I mean, usually when you call in about the Bengals, you're ready to knock me out. So I appreciate the good attitude.
Yeah, and Kev, I thought what you said was really spot on. I just think that it's just like the Michael Jordan thing. Remember, Michael Jordan said this player said something about his mother or something.
Yeah.
And it came out, nothing had ever been said. People try to find whatever they can to get themselves pumped up, and I think that's what the bank. Everybody knows that you sell tickets before the end of the year. If your team looks like they may get in the playoffs, well, guess what? You start selling playoff tickets 3 or 4 games before the season's even over. They know that, but I think it's just something. Hey, let's just try to have a chip on our shoulder and get us something to be pumped up. They're young. I don't worry nothing about that kind of thing. They're young, they're cocky, let them whatever.
What did you think of the coin flip a couple weeks ago? The celebration. Taking a poll here.
I thought it was funny, man.
2-1.
I thought what Zach Taylor said. You know what? I just want to apologize to the NFL for messing up the Atlanta trip. It's tongue in cheek. Have fun with it, man. Have fun with it. Don't be like the Patriots where nobody ever has any fun. Just have fun with it, whatever the case might be. I did want to bring up the Josh Allen situation. My concern about Josh Allen, it's not so much, well, he needs more weapons or he needs a running game. Josh Allen is physically talented. In fact, he reminds me of Justin's favorite quarterback, Justin Herbert, who's so much better than Joe Burrow. But anyway,
So you agree? I didn't think anyone agreed with me on that.
But those guys have trouble reading defenses. They are so strong armed and physically talented. They're more see the guy open, now throw it. Yesterday, how many times did Mike Hilton blitz? Josh Allen had no clue. It's like he can't read a defense. I mean, did you study? Can't you read a defense? And I see that so much. So to me, what separates Joe Burrow from the rest of these cats is he's playing chess and they're playing checkers. When he comes to the line, honestly, it looks like he knows what's going on before it happens. Some of these other guys, like Josh Allen and them, Justin Herbert, their arms are so good, they don't throw with anticipation. What they do is they just haul back and throw it as far as they can. And that's the reason why Diggs had the issue. Look at those throws, on the sideline. In snow, you're throwing stuff like that. I mean, just no common sense. And again, a lot of these guys are physically talented. They put up a lot of stats. But what I like about Burrow, if you need 400 yards, if that's what the game calls for, well, we've seen him do that. If you need 200 yards, manage the game, win the game, that's what he's able to do. To me, that's why he's a cut above, a lot of these other guys. And Josh Allen, I don't know. Is that going to ever change with him? Ever since Brian Daboll left, I mean, look at that guy.
I think so. We saw him make huge improvements from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, where he became the player he is now. I mean, he's super young in his career. I definitely think he can still improve.
But wasn't that coaching though? He had Brian Daboll. That guy's gone. He's got Ken Dorsey now.
They showed like the turnover stats and like just a lot of his numbers. Well, his numbers are very similar to last year. He didn't get better from last year to this year. Still very good, but the turnovers went up significantly. They said Daboll once they controlled those turnovers, that's when Josh Allen took off. Josh Allen is the only quarterback I could think of in recent history that was drafted, was not great to start, and then developed into a great quarterback. Because right now, you know what I mean? Like coming into the league, everyone, you either have it or you don't. He's the only quarterback I could think of that started out kind of slow and got better. I guess Jalen Hurts could be another good example, but a lot of that was Daboll with Josh Allen. You're right.
Yeah, but he still doesn't look like a guy that can actually read defenses. To me, it looked like what they were doing yesterday. Like you said, they made no adjustment. They were just calling play. Let's just call plays and let's just see if they work. I mean, there was like nothing to me. There was like nothing on a professional level where he was reading what's going on. And to me, he made the Bengals defense easy to get to him, like Hilton. Hilton's going to blitz. Kev, you know that from the Pittsburgh
buddy.
game. You got to watch that guy. Yeah, he's tough. You got to watch that guy. But and I see the same thing with Justin Herbert. And then Herbert, he reminds me of Phillip Rivers. 6'6", you throwing sidearm. What's up with that, man? Read a defense quick. He has to see people open. Now I throw it to him because I've got such a gun. But it's not like manipulating the pocket. Even like Burrow, the touchdown he threw to Hayden Hurst. You see what he did on that play? He looked at Jamar Chase. 2 people jumped on Chase, and he saw Hurst going behind. That's like chess. To me, it's like just a different level. Those guys may be more physically talented than he is, but he's way better. He's a way better quarterback than a lot of those guys are, in my opinion.
All right, enough of this Joe Burrow fest. Oh, my goodness. But no, hey, always great hearing from you.
All right, fella.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. And I am starting to change how I view, because he's right. I think that there are quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert who I'll take their skill set over Burrow's any day of the week. But I think where Burrow right now is, he's just leaning into the game itself with his brain. Like it's between the ears. You're right. He's not. I mean, the one thing I'll give the Bengals credit for is last year they fell in love with the home run play, with the big play, right? Mm-hmm. Bombs down the field. And it's sometimes hard to go from that type of play to a more boring style. The Bengals are a little bit of a boring offense this year, but a lot of that's because of the offensive line. I will say this. The Bengals might approach this whole money situation a lot differently because, if you get to the Super Bowl getting sacked 70 times, that's luck, okay? All right, it's hard to buy into that. No one's building a blueprint around how to get sacked 70 times and win a Super Bowl, right? Or get to a Super Bowl. But if they get to another Super Bowl with this banged up offensive line, like a lot of that is the play calling and the scheme and getting rid of the ball in 2.4 seconds every single time. That could just be the approach from the Bengals moving forward, saying, hey, we're going to invest minimally in our offensive line. We're going to hope to draft some good dudes, and we're going to hope to get some middle of the pack dudes in free agency. They may put their money elsewhere. If they could just keep winning, Kev, with these bad offensive lines, I mean, why do you need a good offensive? You're supposed to get a good offensive line because bad ones you can't win with. Well, the Bengals are about to potentially get back to a second straight Super Bowl with the worst offensive line in the playoffs. I know statistically when they had their guys healthy, it's different, but this is a bad group. Yesterday, was that the Bills playing bad or the Bengals offensive line playing well? It's hard for me to say that they were playing well when that same offensive line has been bad for years and years and years. Jackson Carman maybe had a good day yesterday. I don't know. He didn't give up any sacks, so that's good. But it's just, I don't know. I tell you what,
they're definitely facing a different animal this upcoming weekend. I don't suspect that Chris Jones and Frank Clark are going to allow Joe Burrow to only be touched twice the entire game.
Yep. And that's going to be the key. Now, if they do it back-to-back weeks, that's a different story. But, you know, they had a very good game yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
That's for sure. 518-1410. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio, right in time for the NFL playoffs. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports, anytime and anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code WING1410 and bet $5 or more will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Now, just because my Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs doesn't mean I shouldn't try to make some money with some same-game parlays and player props. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize our strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their homes, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Want to make tonight's dinner a perfect 10? Swing by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. With 10 freshly marinated, honey-dipped premium tenderloins, 3 dipping sauces, 2 of our irresistible large sides, and 5 fluffy biscuits, it's family time made from scratch. Take home a top-notch dinner the whole family will love from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Cordell Transportation is hiring third shift dispatcher / customer service representatives. Excellent pay, great benefits, no experience necessary, and paid training. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com or stop in today at 2942 Boulder Avenue in Dayton. Equal opportunity employer.
What if I told you in Iran, women are banned from going to soccer games?
Mom, take the ball.
For 43 years, Iranian women have fought back. Police pushed us. Troops. This is their story.
The joy was forbidden.
What is the meaning of that?
That is how they control you.
I'm Shimol Yai. Listen to the new 30 for 30 podcast, Pink Card. Available now.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
Coming up here in just a moment, if you're off and rolling here, hour 2. 518-1410, 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Ryan Holzapfel said, did we watch the same game, Justin? How couldn't you tell how well the Bengals offensive line played? Did you know? And I've read all this. I'll leave it up while I respond to this. Ryan, I did watch it. And obviously the offensive line look, it's just one of those things where that is not a good offensive line. It's just not. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I don't care how well that they played yesterday. And I think a lot of it had to do with how poorly Buffalo played. That's not me trying to take credit away from Cincinnati. I think there were so many great things to take away from that Bengals game yesterday. And just because the offensive line didn't play bad, it doesn't mean that they played well. And what I mean by that is so are you confident with this offensive line moving forward? We don't need Karras, we don't need Cabin, we don't need Collins. You don't need any of those dudes because this group right here is so good. Like, you need to see more of that. Like, they weren't good against Baltimore. All right. Will they be good against Kansas City? I don't know. Look, the fact that they didn't cost you a game against Buffalo, who is has a very good pass rush attack, I get that. But at the same time, that's not the healthiest Buffalo Bills defensive line, of course. And they don't have all their top pass rushers, of course. Look, they played well. I'm not trying – look, it doesn't matter what I say. It's going to come across as me hating. Bottom line is fine. They didn't give up a ton of sacks yesterday. Great. And I don't want to hear, they played great because Joe Mixon rushed for 100 yards. Yeah, I get that as well. But keep in mind, Joe Mixon, some of his best seasons ever with Cincinnati came with years that they had historically bad offensive lines. The story to me yesterday was the Bengals defense just continuously making Josh Allen uncomfortable. The run game, you see the balance of P. Ryan and Mixon. When that run game balances what Joe Burrow does in the passing attack, like that they're unstoppable. And obviously, when you want to talk about the fact that, that defense, just statistically, when you look at them from the regular season, Middle of the pack average defense statistically, but I'll take that defense over what the Browns have any day. I love the Bengals defense. And there's something about the playoffs where they flip that switch and they're unstoppable. I think the Bengals have what it takes to win it all this season. I feel good about their chances against Kansas City, especially if Patrick Mahomes and that high ankle sprain continues to impact him in preparing for the Bengals coming up. They've beat him when he's 100% healthy multiple times. It's hard for me to feel confident in the Chiefs' ability to win when he's not 100%, and they rely so heavily on him. So there's that. I get it. It would help if I had the right mic on. There we go. Sorry, they switched something in the studio. My bad, dudes. My bad. Off and rolling here. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I think we're off and rolling. Mic's working now. I think so. We're good. Let me restart. Ryan Holzapple said, did we watch the same game, Justin? How couldn't you tell how well the Bengals offensive line played? Did you notice how many yards that they ran for? They dominated the line of scrimmage and pushed the Bills defensive line all over that field. Burrow said it himself. Burrow, even when they play bad, Burrow says how good his offensive line is. The bottom line is that's not a good offensive line. And they did play very well yesterday. Don't get me wrong. But if you think that offensive line is enough to get you to the finish line, I'm not willing to go there yet. I don't think, if that offensive line goes and stops the pass rush, of course, of Kansas City, then I'll be like, okay, man, they're really stepping up. But folks, we've seen this offensive line for years, and they have been embarrassingly bad for years. You mean to tell me that all of a sudden in the last 7 days, all of a sudden they just get it and now they're a great offensive line? It doesn't work that way. Good for them for playing well yesterday, but I'm not confident in them to continue doing that. I think what a lot of it has to do too is, the fact that Joe Burrow gets rid of that ball in 2.4 seconds. The way that they're calling plays and scheming around their deficiencies with that offensive line. We talked earlier about how Joe Burrow last year, it was the home run ball, right? My goodness, how many big plays down the field did him and Jamar Chase, connect on T. Higgins and their offense is definitely not boring, but it doesn't pop as much as it did a year ago, but it's more efficient than it was a year ago. And a lot of that is because of, yes, a lot of teams playing too high safeties and they're taking away a lot of the opportunities down the field. That has a lot to do with it. But you mix that with the fact that Joe Burrow's getting rid of the ball in 2.4 seconds is they're not waiting. Even if they weren't playing too high safety, they're not waiting for Jamar Chase to beat a defender down the field. They're trying to get rid of that ball, and they're getting rid of it in a hurry, and they're not allowing the offensive line to cost them games. So a lot of it is they've been able to, call games around their deficiencies. The Bengals have been doing that all season, and that's the other thing that, that they're going to continue to try to do moving forward. Once they have to pay all these dudes, they're not going to be able to go out and get the likes of La'el Collins and some of these other guys. And I think that the one way to kind of get around it is to continue calling plays the way that they have been and to be able to scheme around some of their deficiencies. My point is yes, they played well yesterday, but if you think that all of a sudden I'm going to say, oh man, that offensive line is great moving forward, that's just not going to happen. That's not an offensive line that I feel good about or that you should feel good about. Good for them for playing a good game yesterday, but I don't think that that's an offensive line that you can feel good about moving forward. Jake Whiting says that the offense evolved when Jamar Chase went out, and now they used Chase in other ways to get him the ball still too. Yes and no. I guess, look, they had a very easy schedule during that stretch without Jamar Chase. So even when they didn't play well offensively, they were still tinkering with some things. And I do believe that ever since he's come back, the reason that they looked even more dominant than they did last season when they got hot is because you're right, Jake. I think they kind of used him in the same ways that they were running that offense without him. And because of his skill and his talent, they've kind of exceeded what expectations are for that. Remember, they struggled to start the season because of a lot of new different looks that teams were kind of throwing their way. But ultimately, this is Zach Taylor. This is that offensive coaching staff. This is that coaching staff that has found ways, and Joe Burrow's skill set, of course, that's been able to outplay their deficiencies. And their deficiencies, especially up front with that offensive line, I'm just saying, a lot of it has more to do with how Joe Burrow gets rid of that football than it does the offensive line being great. That offensive line's not good. I would not put a dime on that offensive line having that same repeat performance against the Kansas City Chiefs. But the thing that I'm trying to say is they don't have to. I don't have to. I'm not going to get all warm and bubbly inside over that offensive line. That's all. Ryan Holzapple, Jackson Carman's. Let's be clear. I refuse to give Jackson Carman any kind of praise. I'm playing by your guys' rules. I'll just leave it at that. Jake Whiting said, all agreed. Scott Campbell says all good now. Okay, cool. All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. Kev will be back with us coming up here in just a moment, continuing to take your reactions on the Facebook side. By the way, go to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, jump in the conversation that way. Matt Sturgeon said, Justin, I agree with you on the O-line issue. Sounds like they will get Kappa back for Sunday. Played great yesterday, but I still have concern. All right, good stuff there. All right, 518-1410. Let's go to Matt. Matt, you were up, sir. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, Jake? Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Another day in paradise, my friend. What you got for us?
Well, lifelong diehard Bengal fan. And first of all, come on, guys. Let's let go of these conspiracy theories. I want all Bengals fans to ask themselves this question. When in the hell has the NFL ever done anything to benefit the Cincinnati Bengals? So, or, come on, let's let that go. We sound like Ravens fans. Number two.
Real quick, just so people know what we're talking about, because what Matt's referencing is what I said earlier. I was like, I have nothing bad to say about the Bengals on the field, but I think that their drama queen mentality right now is kind of getting a little annoying, and it's off-putting a lot of even non-Bengals fans because, this idea that the NFL was wrong for selling tickets to a potential Bills and Chiefs AFC title game, I don't think you all understand. I know you're all new to the advancing in the playoffs over the last year and a half, but I don't think you understand how business works. So you're supposed to pre-sell tickets to further rounds, even if you think you can get there or not. It's called business.
100%.
So that's why I was so annoyed. I thought it was beneath Joe Burrow to make that comment in the post game. Oh, better get those refunds.
Oh,
and,
no.
all that stuff drove me nuts.
Okay, got to disagree with you right there because that's who he is, and that's who this team is. It might have been, it could have gone without saying it, absolutely. But if he don't say that, then he's not Joe Burrow. Okay, and that's what makes Joe Burrow Joe Burrow. He's not, he's not out of the way arrogant. He's not, he's not Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon makes a lot of comments. He finally backed a little bit of it up on the field yesterday, but, he was making a lot of comments for a guy that, was rushing for 25 and 30 yards against the Ravens. But listen, there's an old saying, and I really believe in it. It's not bragging if you back it up.
That's where you got me, because I can't, it's one thing if you say that and then, I mean, they did beat the Bills and they did beat them pretty soundly. So I get it. And as I said earlier, it's one thing, if you're going to do it, at least back it up. And they are for right now, but fans are keeping notes of this, and that cockiness and arrogance will come back and haunt them, because the Bills issues right now, a lot of that has to do with their quarterback has money and they don't have as many resources to fill holes like the Bengals do right now, who are playing with the quarterback under rookie contract. So is the game the game's easier right now for Burrow than it is some of these other quarterbacks who are on their contract, extensions or whatever. That's not taking anything away from Burrow, though. That dude can freaking play, and that's why it drives me so crazy as a Browns fan.
I mean, and listen, this is going to catch the ire of a lot of Chiefs fans, but I don't care. And I'm not the only one that says this. Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL. Okay, if I'm starting a team and I get the first pick, I'm picking him over anybody. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is great. Patrick Mahomes is fantastic. I will never take nothing away from Patrick Mahomes. Now, Burrow's got to get himself a ring, whether it's this year, next year. He's got to get himself a ring to solidify this. However, he is the best person in the NFL right now playing quarterback.
Yep.
The man he's got some Montana in him. He's got some Brady in him. He's got some Manning in him. And tell me I'm wrong. I mean, dead serious.
It needs to be complimented. It needs to be complimented by a ring, though. Like, that's the reason I'm not going there with any of this stuff, is because keep in mind, Josh Allen was a freaking god up until about, yesterday. And now the media has just been bashing him all day today. So it's like things can change and change in a hurry. I mean, what changed about he lost one game yesterday, and all of a sudden, all the things that were great about him all season and all last year and the year before, all of a sudden that's erased. Joe Burrow has been winning, and they're on a huge win streak now. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They might get back again this year. They might win it this year. That's fine, and that's easy to say. But I also sometimes you need to see how a team reacts when they're down. I mean, yesterday you saw the seams kind of start to come out a little bit. You had Diggs storming off and having to have players bring him back into the locker room. He's screaming at his quarterback on the sideline. Things are always fun when you're winning. It's how you react when you're losing. We'll see about that, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Hey, Matt, you still there? Matt, call back, because I know you had more. And I appreciate the dialogue back and forth. Like, we disagree on stuff, but I like the back and forth. So, Matt, call back. I'll get you taken care of. Let's go to Nick. Nick, how are you, sir?
Hey, so, just so you're right that the home teams or the teams that have the seed that will host playoffs do sell out the entire playoffs. Mm-hmm. You're correct. And usually, instead of a refund, what they'll do is they'll put it on your season tickets for next year. But the NFL was the one selling these tickets, not the Bills, not the Chiefs. It was the NFL, because the NFL wanted that neutral site and wanted to, in fact, make it permanent, right? And I think what the Bengals did and what Joe did is, and every team should applaud the Bengals and say thank you to put an end to that. Because if you earn home field advantage, you should get home field advantage for one thing, right? So I get it, and I love that Joe said it, and I, will stand by it. The thing that I want to talk about is that I went back and watched the game today on the NFL Plus, which is a nice thing if you get a chance to get it. I recommend it because you get all different kind of angles. And I'll tell you what, Jackson Carman, he looked at home at left tackle. I don't know, that's when he played in Clemson, and that's where he played through high school and everything. But man, he just looked like a different type player out there. You remember the sweep that was towards the end zone where Joe almost scored but gets tackled?
Got pushed right out of bounds. Yep.
Yeah, that Carmen pulls and he hit Edmonds and just flat out pancaked him. And I'm like, who is that guy? Where's he been? He just looked like a completely different lineman yesterday. He picked up a couple of blitzes, moved his feet real well. I was completely surprised at how well he played. He's been playing guard and so much for the team. I just don't think he felt comfortable, to be honest with you. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, and look, and they made a lot of big plays yesterday. It's just one of those things. There's just years of bad O-line play from these same individuals that I'm not going to let one game erase all of that. However, this is back-to-back years where the O-line has not been great, and they're still making a run, and that's what's interesting. But if they play like that again against Kansas City, then I'll be like, okay, maybe there's something here with Jackson Carman. Maybe there's something there. I'll give you that. Like, let's see a repeat performance. Let's see a little more consistency. But, yes, one game is more than fine to kind of feel good about, yeah.
Would you agree that this line is still better than any line they ran out last year?
I mean, isn't it the same line, basically, minus one?
No. Because you have no Quentin Spain, no I don't even, because Carmen was playing some right. I forget who all was rotating in at right tackle. Ted Karras wasn't on the line. He's playing center, right?
But that's the one. So of the three guys they got in the offseason, what I mean by that is, okay, from a name perspective, yes, but they got three big names in the offseason. Only one of them's out there right now. So that's clearly, I mean, they brought those guys in because the guys behind them were not the everyday guys that they felt confident in moving forward.
So but what I'm saying is even the right guard was the guy that we picked up that was cut off the Texans. That was a starter for the Texans.
Yep.
That started. So what I'm saying is as bad as the offensive line last year was, this line is still better than that line and protected against Kansas City. So I'm like, I guess what I'm saying is we did it last year with even worse offensive line. We've made improvements. We're still improved with the choices we've made as far as the backups this year. Last year we were playing Isaiah Prince at right tackle, right? So it seems like the guys that we have that have played better or come in have been better. Backups are even better than what we had last year.
That's why, like I said, and yesterday, no complaints. That was the best. I mean, as you talked about, Joe Burrow said in the postgame, it's the best their offensive line has played. With that group of guys, though, they put a repeat performance on as the backups against Kansas City with a very strong pass rush. Then I think it's something to feel excited about. But I joke all the time. Look, I wasn't a very good basketball player, but I had 9 points in a game one time. It didn't make me a 9 points a game score. It just means I had a good game one day. You know what I'm saying? So I need to see a little bit more from that. But at the same time, hopefully you don't have to see more. It'd be nice to see them kind of get healthy at offensive line, especially since they invested so much in that offseason. So
yeah, and the thing is, we know that Collins is not coming back, right? So we at least have the hopes of Kappa and potentially Williams. But like I said, after seeing the way that, like again, watching the film and watching how much Carman felt better, and he's actually bigger than Jonah Williams. If you look at like a prototypical left tackle, right, he's actually more of a size than Jonah is. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bengals do with that if Carman does continue to play like he did.
All right. Well, Nick, good hearing from you, man. Appreciate the call.
Yep. Bye.
All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Kev, I behaved myself.
I got a question about Jackson Carman. Since Jackson Carman used to be an Ohio State recruit and commitment, is it once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye for him too, since he plays so well? Or no, since he went to Clemson?
That's a very valid point.
Another crazy thing I saw floating on social media. Jalen Hurts is the first Alabama quarterback to win a playoff game since, I want to say, 1982.
But see, that's fair because he at least played for Alabama. Like he played. He at least won big games with them. He was also benched for a freshman quarterback, but he got them there.
True. But you know, that's how that works.
Jake Whiting said, valid question, Kev. So you just, damn, you were sitting on that. You literally, guys, he just walked in the studio, sat down, and bam, Buckeyes right there.
Go Bucks, baby.
All right. Yeah, Keith called me out. He goes, yeah, Kev, Justin did do a good few minutes with the wrong mic. I think the best radio I've ever done was that 5 minutes I talked with the wrong mic, and none of y'all heard anything I said.
That's what I meant.
Goodness. Yeah. I mean, anyways. All right. 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, Ohio, Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash with you here to let you know that the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in Ohio just in time for the NFL playoffs. And new customers in Ohio can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Kinner, Kinner. Finally, you can bet on all of your favorite sports with everything from the money line to point spreads to player props or my personal favorite, in-game parlays. So go ahead and win some bucks in the Buckeye State, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Are you ready for tax season? Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment. Or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton. Go to BelmontBCTXS.com. BelmontBCTXS.com.
The all-new Chevrolet of Troy is now open. What are the advantages of shopping at Chevrolet of Troy? Selection has never been better, with over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles available. We always accept employee and supplier pricing, and we make financing easy. Customer service is our top priority. We care about you, with thousands off MSRP, a full-service state-of-the-art dealership, and huge selection. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first stop today. 1375 South Market Street, and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Need to update your furniture? Menards has the furniture you need in stock. Plus, you get a free rug. That's right. Buy any upholstered living room furniture at $299 or more and get a free 5x7 area rug. That's $149.99 in savings. Need a new chair? How about a sectional, a new recliner, or love seat? Buy one today, get a free rug. Hurry up, get to Menards before they're gone. In-store only while supplies last.
Save big money at Menards.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy, a high near 35. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy and cold, a low near 25. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio, right in time for the NFL playoffs. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports, anytime and anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code WING1410 and bet $5 or more will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Now, just because my Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs doesn't mean I shouldn't try to make some money with some same-game parlay parlays, and player props. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Dayton area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Ohio's educators make a difference in their students' lives every day. From classroom teachers to para-educators, professors, bus drivers, school secretaries, custodians, and more. These are the people who have dedicated their lives to serving our kids and making our public schools great. And we want to say thank you. Join the Ohio Education Association in recognizing an education champion in your community. Go to ohea.org/education champions to submit your nomination now.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Want to know how you can satisfy every comfort food craving? Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try a home-style bowl for only $4.59. You'll get a bowl of our mashed potatoes with fresh strip bites, corn, and gravy, all topped off with shredded cheddar cheese to create a truly unbeatable bowl. Get your every wish in one hearty, craveable dish when you try a home-style bowl from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for only $4.59. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Cordell Transportation is hiring third shift dispatcher/customer service representatives. Excellent pay, great benefits, no experience necessary, and paid training. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com or stop in today at 2942 Boulder Avenue in Dayton. Equal opportunity employer.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids chewables provide fast relief for common stomach issues, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids chewables. Fast relief for little tummies. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Lamar Shelley on Facebook, Kev, he says that it's going to be an extremely tall task for us to beat Kansas City 4 times in a row. I wouldn't want to have any other guy other than Burrow to accept that task. Hooday. Man. So
it is going to be a tall task. I mean, I said it during the regular season, like Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs for a 3rd time in a row. Come on, man. Like, let's be for real here. And they actually were able to get it done. But that task is even taller for a 4th time in a row in Kansas City with revenge on their mind. So it's definitely going to be a tall task. I'm sure guys like Frank Clark and Chris Jones are going to be out there trying to get after Joe Burrow. I'm sure he won't only be touched 2 times in this upcoming AFC Championship matchup. But the great equalizer, Patrick Mahomes, is hobbled.
Yeah, y'all ain't confident about beating a one-legged Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the luck just keeps coming your way, and I'm not talking Andrew. Jody Van Winkle says, how about them Bengals?
Jody.
Damon Hahn says, who day? So there's that. Yeah, it's a lot of excitement. Look, Bengals, again, it's one thing to win, but for them to dominate the way they did, think about this, think about the wins that Joe Burrow and the Bengals have throughout the last 2 years, Kev. Obviously, the win over the Raiders at home, it ended the playoff win drought, okay? But to go on the road and win at Tennessee, the number 1 seed last year, and then to go on to win at Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, down, like, what was it, 15 or 20 points or something crazy. I mean, they got down in a hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically what they did to Buffalo in the first half yesterday is what the Chiefs did to the Bengals in the first half last year, except, they flipped that switch at halftime. But to win at Tennessee, to win at Kansas City in the AFC title game last year, then to win at Buffalo, and now if they get back to the Super Bowl, they would have to win at Kansas City again. I mean, look, I find ways to poke holes in your resumes all the time, but I mean, let's not act like they're not winning all these games at home. I mean, they've beat Kansas City at Kansas City in the AFC title game. They just beat Buffalo at Buffalo. If they get to the Super Bowl again, that means they beat Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City for the 2nd time, 4th time in a row, but 2nd straight time in the playoffs. Like that's something that even the biggest hater like me, I can't find ways to water it down other than, beating Patrick Mahomes with 1 leg, other than that, no, nonetheless, but their playoff streak has been pretty impressive at that. I mean, to go 30 years without winning any, and then I saw it's 5 playoff wins now for old Joey B and company. So it's been quite the turnaround, that's for sure. And it's all about the quarterback. We're going to get to the quarterback pressure rankings in a moment, but I want to bring this up. My Dallas Cowboys, right? Yes, I'm still claiming them. Look, I claim all my bad teams, I'm just saying. So this is why, like, I'm not talking Lamar here necessarily, but sometimes, like, the national media, they drive me crazy because right away it's, a lot of national media are former players. So, of course, they're going to be pro player and making sure the player gets their money. Okay. And I completely understand that. That's from their frame of mind. And I get that. But sometimes I wish what national media would do, being former players, is sometimes admit that, yeah, maybe we were wrong about forcing a team or pressuring a team or trying to frame a team to be in the wrong for not wanting to jump in the deep end and marry a quarterback long term. I remember the Dallas Cowboys, like Jerry Jones, he puts his, he steps in it a lot. And I don't defend Jerry Jones often. I was adamant. I was defending Jerry Jones during the Zeke contract negotiation and during the Dak negotiation because I felt, for one, for Zeke, you don't put that much money in a running back. They did. Okay, fine, whatever. But then if you have to put all your money into a quarterback that's so dependent on the run game that pass game can't exist without the run game, then I wouldn't have invested into Dak either. Now, I don't think Dak is a horrible quarterback. He's still better than 75% of the quarterbacks in the National Football League. But sometimes I get annoyed when national media tries to, when they were framing Jerry Jones to be this horrible person because why doesn't he want to pay Dak? Why doesn't he want to pay Dak? This is why. Like, I look around the NFL, the most cheap organization in football, according to the national perception is the Cincinnati Bengals, which I don't necessarily always agree with. I think they spend their money. They don't always spend it wisely, but they have over the last couple of off seasons. There are already reports coming out that the Bengals they're not going to wait to get a deal done with Joe Burrow. They're going to get it done this offseason, which kudos to them, because I thought they were going to screw around and mess this thing up, right? You know what I mean? No, they're not. They're going to take care of it. The Bills, they wasted no time. When the second that they were able to pay Josh Allen, folks, they paid Josh Allen. The Kansas City Chiefs, now it's a lot easier when you're coming off of a Super Bowl. I get that. But the second they came off that Super Bowl and he already had an MVP, they took care of it right away. They weren't drawing it out. They weren't unsure of anything. A lot of these teams, they're very confident and they know what they have and they want to marry them long-term. So sometimes I get they're good. They're going to take the player's side. But Dak Prescott is exactly why I sometimes get annoyed when we start pressuring these teams. How could you not pay Lamar? I think the Ravens are wanting to pay Lamar, but I think they see deficiencies that they don't want to marry long term. We did this with the Dallas Cowboys. There was deficiencies with Dak's game that the Cowboys were like, well, I mean, 50 mil, or I guess at the time it was 45 mil. At that time, that was a lot. That was like at the top of the NFL. I understood why Jerry Jones didn't want to do that. People were like, oh, Jerry finally did it. Well, the things that Jerry Jones behind closed doors is worried about when it comes to Dak Prescott, when that stuff comes to light on the national stage in the playoffs, again, no one comes out and says, well, maybe we shouldn't have urged him to make him that, because the thing about Joe Burrow is he can elevate people around him. All right. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, these great quarterbacks, they can elevate. They don't need the top of the line talent to be great. Does it help them? Yes. That's not Dak. Dak has never been that guy. He needed Zeke. That's the whole reason they paid Zeke all that money, is because, well, Dak is not Dak unless he has Zeke. So that's why they paid the running back all that money. And that's why I'm just like, man, maybe, like I heard Ryan Clark say. Ryan Clark was the one reason I was saying this, is because he was the one beating up Jerry Jones the most, not even 2 years ago, about the Dak Prescott thing. Well, he gets paid, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have been paid, but sometimes like teams aren't wrong for not wanting to make you the highest paid in the league or to give you an X% of their money, because, hey, if we give you all that money, that's at the expense of star players at this position. What are you going to do to overcompensate for some of our deficiencies in those other areas because of the money we gave you? That's not what Dak is. So this is why the Cowboys are going to be this very good 9 to 12 win team every year, make you believe some weeks and make you disbelieve the next week. That's going to be the Cowboys moving forward. That's going to be a lot of teams who invest their money into a quarterback. I think that's going to be the Cardinals. I like Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is a very good quarterback, but I think the Cardinals are going to be in the same spot as the Dallas Cowboys, where they were also being labeled as a bad organization because they weren't giving him that money. And now I think they're going to be kind of running in place for a little bit. I could be wrong on Kyler. I think Kyler has a little bit more upside than Dak. I could be wrong on that, but it is going to be interesting. I just think teams know. They want to win. If you have a chance to get a quarterback when it's so hard to get a quarterback in this league, why would you waste time getting a deal done unless you were not 100% certain? The Bengals are ready to put a ring on it. They're ready to marry Joe Burrow before he even gives them a ring. He might give them a ring this year. Who knows? But I guess I'm just going back to that point of sometimes the teams, if a team's hesitant, there's a reason, because when teams know, they know, and they get that ring done quick, they get that contract done quickly. It is interesting seeing kind of the Cowboys' demise once again. And Dak was responsible. That defense, they shut down Purdy. They shut down all those weapons. McCaffrey, by the way, still played well. By the way, how about that? I thought they were stupid for giving up all that they did for McCaffrey, and he's why they won last night. He's why they're as good as they are right now. But good for the Cowboys' defense. It's just unfortunate the offense couldn't match it.
That loss is 100% on Dak. You can't put this on McCarthy. McCarthy had a heck of a year coaching. He switched some things up. You didn't see a lot of blunders with clock management, things of that nature. I am not saying get rid of McCarthy. I am saying that the Dallas Cowboys need to figure out what they're going to do. Are you going to keep Dak? Because if you're saying Dak is our quarterback, you obviously need to change something, how he's being coached and how the game plans are being implemented. And that will be the offensive coordinator. Obviously, Sean Payton is not going to come there to be the offensive coordinator. He's a head coach in this league, and that's what he's deserving of. So that situation needs to be resolved for the Dallas Cowboys to go further if they're going to say Dak is our guy. The reason you have to pay a Dak or a Kyler Murray is because, to quote the Reds ownership, where are you going to go?
I saw him today.
There's not a lot of good quarterbacks in this league, man. So when you got a guy that can that is above average, that is, let's say, good, you have to pay for them, because you'll end up going out there with, I don't know, me, you, Colt McCoy, who's like 100 years old now. So like, that's why they have to ultimately pay these guys. And I know it's like, I know what they're thinking is like, well, he ain't that good. He ain't as good as Mahomes. He's not good as Allen. He's not good as Burrow. Like, if I'm giving you all this money, I'm expecting you to be as good as those guys. How many people at your job that you work with make the same amount of money as you, and they work half as much as you do, or they're not as good at your job as you are? Like, that happens in every line of business. Now, obviously, this is a lot different because this is pro sports and we see their contracts. We know how much they're making, and it's a salary cap league. So their performance is put at magnified, because if you don't play well, because just a week ago, everybody in mind was like, man, Dak did it, man. He went down to Tampa. He beat Tampa Bay and sent Tom Brady packing. He balled his butt off. And we know how this league is. If you don't perform that very next week, especially in the playoffs when everybody's watching, just like that, whatever you did doesn't even matter. We saw this in the NBA with Jason Tatum outplayed Kevin Durant, then outplayed Giannis, and then outplayed Jimmy Butler in the Eastern Conference, and then he had a bad finals. It seemed like nothing he did to get his team to the finals even mattered. That's the same thing for Dak Prescott. Nothing he did all season long or even against Tampa Bay mattered, because he was so bad in that game. He was so bad. And I'm not simply talking about the interceptions and the turnovers. I mean, those are obvious. But the lack of, hey, man, it was almost like CJ Stroud. It was almost like, hey, man, there's 5 yards. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to just stand here and wait for somebody to break open, and I'm going to force the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Those things need to be coached out of him. He's not an old man. He's still in his 20s. They need to coach that up out of him if he's going to remain their quarterback, because what I saw from them was just terrible. It was terrible quarterback play by Dak. And like you just said, the defense played well enough for them to win the game. The defense balled out of control. Like, I mean, you had to have a face mask tip catch by one of the best tight ends in the league, Kittle, for their offense to even get going, for the 49ers to even get going. So the defense got to be looking at Dak like, bruh.
Yeah, Dak went from being Dak is back to Dak is whack, like very quickly.
Just like that.
But I think that's who he who he is moving forward. You're going to get great games like that against Tampa, and then you're going to get games like, I mean, the interceptions, that's just who he is. And not all of them are his fault. I get that, but like
those two yesterday
were, yes, because I know
that wasn't a miscommunication. That's a saying, like, he does not have a Josh Allen arm. He does not have a Herbert type of rocket launcher arm. He is a quarterback that plays with anticipation, not as well as Joe Burrow, but like that's how he plays the game. And he tried to force 2 balls in there and picked off both of them.
Dan Quinn or Lou Anarumo?
Ooh, I would say
you don't even know what the hell I asked. I just threw out 2 names. You're like,
I'm assuming you're talking about for a head coaching position.
Head coach or just these? I mean, both are just dominating right now. The Cowboys have more weapons on defense as far as like guys, than the Bengals. So then you have, but the ones in the AFC going up against these top quarterbacks every single week. I like Quinn a lot, but Anarumo. Well, I asked you first. I mean, but Anarumo, I like Anarumo.
If we're talking, if my team needed a head coach, I would go with Dan Quinn simply because he has head coaching experience. And I honestly, I don't know a ton about the Bengals defensive coordinator. I'm not sure like his coaching tree or where coaching tree he comes from. So that's why I would say Dan Quinn. But I mean, there's no doubt about what the Cincinnati Bengals have been able to do in the last 2 playoff runs. He's making Eli Apple look like a first-round pick again.
And Eli Apple is the Dak Prescott of DBs.
Why was he smoking a stogie? It's the divisional round. Save the stogie for the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
It's the Joe Burrow effect. They just smoke cigars all the time. Cigs, sorry. You know. Heaters. Hey, our guy, Packers fan Tim. Yes, I had that coming. Packers fan Tim. I'm not going to lie. My ADD got the best of me. I left you hanging. Tim, Love you, Tim. Call back. I promise you, we're going to get you the second you go on hold and we're on the air, I'm going to go to you. I forgot about you. That is all on me, not on Kev. So my fault on that. So call back, Tim, and we'll definitely get you back on the show. That's on me. Some of the other callers on hold, we'll get you guys coming up here in just a moment. But I like, I'm a do less with more guy. What guy is doing more with less? And that's why I like Anarumo. And that's not a slight at the Bengals defense. They got some dogs on there, but that Bengals defense was really, really bad. Now I know they added Mike Hilton and they, Reeder, and then they added a lot of these guys. Hendrickson's been fantastic. You know what? Maybe not. Maybe they do have some.
They do.
That both defenses have some guys, but I think that because of the job that the Bengals defense, what they do in the AFC, going up against those quarterbacks. Going up against Cowboys defense did great against Purdy, but that ain't Josh Allen. That ain't Patrick Mahomes. That ain't
they stopped the run game.
Jacoby Brissett.
They stopped the run game.
The Bengals defense couldn't figure out Jacoby Brissett, though. That is a problem. Someone said, "What was the Bengals' last loss?" I'm like, I wonder who was the Bengals' last loss. But no, in all seriousness, I like Anarumo. I'm surprised his name doesn't get brought up. Maybe it's like, I don't know. My bad on this. I'm not saying he's a nobody, but where did Anarumo come from? I don't know. I don't know anything.
I don't know either.
He's done a great job, though.
And this is another thing about the head coaching openings. We talk about Amaramu. We talk about Quinn. We talk about D'Amico Ryans from San Francisco 49ers. Will they get jobs because they're defensive head coaches? We see where this league is headed, where they pick offensive guys to be their head coaches. Will they get a shot to be a head coach?
That's the thing, too, especially right now in an offensive-minded league. You're looking at – I know – the Niners are known for their defense, but look at all those weapons. And obviously they're known for their head coach being an offensive genius, which I'm always like, whatever on that. But anyways, there's that. The Bengals offensive-minded head coach, the Chiefs offensive-minded head coach, the Eagles. Now that's an offensive-minded head coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, so it's all offensive minds. The divisional round was all offensive minds except for
Buffalo. I'm drawing a blank on their head coach.
Okay, yeah, and they lost their offensive-minded dude in Dayball, obviously,
right.
The coordinator, to the Giants. But anyways, 518-1410. Dan Quinn or Anarumo, which defensive coordinator would you rather have as your head coach? 518-1410, or head to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page and leave it in the comment section. I'm curious your thoughts. And would you be hesitant if your team has a head coaching opening to go the defensive coaching route? I am curious. Brian Flores is a pretty good option as well. Keep that in mind, too. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Before new Cascade Platinum Plus, I would pre-rinse all my dishes because my old detergent just wouldn't get them clean. But now I do dishes differently. A no pre-wash, no rewash, money-back guaranteed kind of different. Because Cascade Platinum Plus has double the grease fighting power of Dawn built right in, with twice the scrubbing power, giving me a clean that lets me break all the dish rules. I just scrape, load, and I'm done. Yep, so clean. With Cascade Platinum Plus, I dare to dish differently.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your, so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks Vapor Rub. Cough relieving is believing.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Save big money on your next project at Menards. American Standard offers high-quality plumbing fixtures that you can count on. From faucets and shower heads to toilets and more, American Standard has it all. Relax and unwind with a new Whirlpool from Elger. The 10-jack corner massage bathtub offers a spa-like feel. Plus, get a free inline heater with the purchase of any Elger Whirlpool after rebate. Good through February 5th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can find options that fit your budget, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh yeah, like when I hold the door for someone. Sure, it may be weird if I don't time it right, and they're a little too far away, and now they're running. And we're both asking ourselves, is it worth it to run instead of just, letting them open their own door?
But still, it's the right thing to do. So get options based on your needs with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. My friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Mark Patrick Seminars. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all, or your money back. Seminar 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 26th at the Holiday Inn Dayton Fairborn, I-675 in Fairborn. Or 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 28th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Dayton South, I-675 in Dayton. Registration 30 minutes before seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
Houday Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Dancing crew, trip for 2, nail the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kids, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. New COVID-19 boosters designed for recent Omicron variants are now available. Learn about eligibility and schedule a free updated booster today at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hi, Greg McAfee here with McAfee Heating and Air. There has never been a better time to start a new career. If you are 18 years or older with a high school diploma or GED and enjoy working with your hands, consider the McAfee Apprenticeship Program, where you will learn everything you need through in-class and on-the-job training. Apply today at mcair.com. That's mcair.com.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need to clear clutter from my office and my home office and my home.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year at amazing savings. Right now at Staples, get up to 50% off select file folders, file cabinets, file boxes, and storage bins. Make this year your year at Staples, the working and learning store. Ends 1/28 in-store only.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We had our Reds media luncheon earlier this afternoon and had a chance to catch up with Phil Castellini and a couple other Reds front office members like Reds general manager Nick Krall. Interesting stuff there. I'm sure we'll talk more. I know we'll talk way more baseball as we get closer to the season, but it does sound like Joey Votto, it's a good chance he will not be ready by spring training, a good chance he won't be ready by Reds opening day. And I think that while some think that's a problem for a team, I'm like, how can any player being out be a problem for a team that's not going to be contending anyways? That's how I always look at it. And the way I look at this is it's a situation for the Cincinnati Reds that, hey, you know what? Joey Votto's out. It's an opportunity. And I heard this from multiple people today, including Nick Krall, that Votto's going to have an opportunity, or Stevenson's going to have an opportunity to play a little first base. I know Will Myers and some others have some experience there, but I do think the big picture with Tyler Stevenson is first base. Could be wrong on that. Corky Miller was not a fan of that either. He said he's a catcher. That's what he needs to stay at as a catcher. But Nick Krall kept bringing up different things as far as, the fact that, they're going to be versatile. And I think that's going to be key for the Reds, especially keeping him in the lineup on a daily basis. But that's not the Cincinnati team we're talking a lot about today, and obviously so. The Cincinnati Bengals dominated the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round at Buffalo. We talked about this a little bit ago. Cincinnati's playoff runs over the last 2 years been beyond impressive when you think about the fact that, yes, they ended the 30-year drought against, of course, the Raiders at home. Then you go on the road at Tennessee. Your quarterback gets sacked 9 times. That's the 1-seeded Tennessee Titans a year ago at this time. And then they win at Kansas City in the AFC Championship game against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs back in the AFC title game this year for the 5th straight season, by the way. And that's where the Bengals are headed for their 2nd straight season, where they just got another playoff win, this time at Buffalo. And if they want to get back to their 2nd straight Super Bowl, Kev, they're going to have to do it at Kansas City. They always say it's tough to beat a team twice in one season, and this wouldn't be twice in one season. This would be the 5th straight win over the Kansas City Chiefs. But can they make it back-to-back against Kansas City? Not just back-to-back against Kansas City, in the regular season or back-to-back seasons, but back-to-back in the AFC Championship game, a rematch from last year.
Man, like I said before,
I know we
hour
got to get
one,
in the final, but
I'm gonna wait because I got to see what's up with Patrick Mahomes and that high ankle sprain, and kind of like let the dust settle from this week. But that would be one heck of an achievement. And I heard Keyshawn Johnson talk about this on the morning show. Whoever wins this matchup, if the Bengals win this matchup versus Kansas City, and even if they lose the Super Bowl to whomever, be it the Niners or Philly, they should be the favorite in the AFC next year if they're able to go back to the Super Bowl this year. Because I mean, look what the run is. We talked about it on the show when the wild card weekend opened. Like, this means that the Bengals went on the road to beat the Bills. They went on the road to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, like the two top guns in the AFC with the high profile quarterbacks. So they would be the AFC favorite going into next year.
Yeah, and especially with the fact that, Joe Burrow and the company, they've beaten Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs multiple times. They just beat Josh Allen at Buffalo. It's not one of those, you have to prove it. We have to see it to believe it. We've seen it multiple times now where Joe Burrow and the Bengals are beating these top teams led behind these elite quarterbacks. And the Bengals are there. It's the Chiefs, it's the Bills, it's the Bengals in no particular order, although that was the order that many anticipated coming into the season. But the Bengals have kind of reversed that, or are looking to officially reverse it to where it could be the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Bills. How quick? So someone threw this in there. We'll do this topic more in depth later on, but it is interesting when someone said, well, what will happen first? The Reds make the playoffs or the Bengals miss the playoffs? Just that'll be a topic more in depth later on in the week. But it did get me to think. Now, I know, it's a while before the Reds are contenders again in baseball, but let's be clear. The Cincinnati Bengals, things can change and change quickly. How about the Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl contenders, even after losing in the playoffs the way they did last year? They were dominant all regular season. They were one of the favorites heading into this year's playoffs. They get beat down yesterday by the Bengals in Buffalo. And Kev, oh my gosh, the sky's falling. Buffalo is debating whether to blow it all up and start over to build around Josh Allen with new weapons. And I'm like, football, every sport is so, we overreact more than any other sport out there. I think it's because it's one game and you have 6 days to stew on it before the next one. With the NBA, sometimes you could have a bad game one night like the Cavs did when they lost to the whatever form of Golden State Warriors that was, and they get a big night win the next night. Doesn't make any sense, but basketball can quickly make you forget, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it works. Football is different. This idea that all of a sudden the Bills, who were dominant all season, even when they weren't playing their best football, still winning, it's tough to get to the point to where you could win as playing bad games. There's some teams that have to play a perfect 4-quarter game just to come away with a close win. Buffalo comes away with wins easily, and they don't even play great football all the time. That's how good of a team they are. So this idea that Cincinnati's bulletproof for the foreseeable future, I don't believe in that. In the NFL, things change and they change quickly, good or bad. I mean, you win 2 games 1 year and you're in the Super Bowl 2 years later.
Right.
It works both ways. But the NFL, things can change on a dime, and injuries play a lot in that. But from a cap space perspective, they have plenty of room moving forward. They got to pay the quarterback and stuff, but I think that the Bengals are here for the long haul. But in the NFL, long haul means 2 to 3 years. So
yeah, windows. You're 100% correct. And that is why the sport will always be number one in this country, because there's always hope. There's always we got a top 5 draft pick. Oh, well, team X, their quarterback is out for the entire season. Oh man, they lost their starting offensive lineman for the year. Man, we can shut them down. Or boom, they're way over the cap. They're just letting all their veteran players just go and cutting them left and right. So that's what makes this league so great, because you can bounce back quickly, very quickly.
518-1410, 518-1410. Earlier, we were talking about Lou Anarumo or Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinators, one for the Bengals, one for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'd asked which one would you rather have as a head coach? Obviously, if your team needs a head coach, you want Dan Quinn or Lou Anarumo. Obviously, another name floating out there, of course, obviously the former Dolphins head coach and now the Steelers that the Browns had interviewed as well, and Brian Flores. There's a lot of big name defensive head coaches out there that I don't think are going to get jobs. I mean, this is why Zach Taylor years ago, as the assistant quarterbacks coach or whatever the heck his title was, that's usually not the right pecking order. You don't go from assistant quarterbacks coach to head coach, but because it's an offensive minded league, that's where we're going. Even the top defensive minds aren't getting jobs right now. And then you look at, the proof speaks for itself. All the teams that are dominant in the NFL right now have offensive minded head coaches. So we're talking about which one would you rather have? The real question is, will either of them be a head coach in 2023?
I don't think so. This league is a copycat league. You heard it a million and one times from other talking heads out there. They go where the hot thing is. And right now, the hot thing is a offensive coordinator or an offensive assistant that's like right underneath somebody else that can be under their tree so they can create these big splash plays on offense. So I don't think that out of all those guys, maybe Dan Quinn, probably Dan Quinn will be the one because he does
familiarity.
Yeah, he took his team to a Super Bowl. So I think he'll probably be ultimately the guy because of that head coaching experience. But, Brian Flores is floating out there. DeMeco Ryans obviously is out there. Leslie Frazier is out there. A lot of those guys are still out there. And Leslie Frazier has head coaching experience as well. He coached the Minnesota Vikings for a couple years. So there's a lot of guys out there worthy of getting a head coaching spot. But the way this league is set up now, there's not too many defensive head coaches out there that are winning at a big time level. I mean, you look at, Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time. He missed the playoffs. You look at Coach Tomlin, a defensive head coach. He missed the playoffs. So it's trending in the area of offensive-minded head coaches going far in this league.
And it's one of those things where you could say, well, you hire a defensive-minded head coach, get a good offensive coordinator. But the problem is the league is they have leaned in so much to the offensive side that I'm not saying these guys don't deserve head coaching jobs, but they're, you talk about the pecking order where coaches are skipping steps now. You're going from the assistant quarterbacks coach or a quarterback, not a coordinator. Position coaches are getting head coaching jobs just because they're on the offensive side of the ball, to where it used to be you move up from a position coach to a coordinator, then a head coach. Now we're skipping steps. So a longtime successful defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn or Lou Anarumo and some of these other guys, they're having to remain coordinators longer, and they're much better at their job as coordinators for defense. And some of these guys are offensively, but because they're offensive minds, that's how Zach Taylor got hired. By the way, doing a great job. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I think he skipped some steps. He didn't deserve to be a head coach when he got hired, but because the league was leaning so heavily into the offense, and it still is, that's why so there's not as many good offensive mind coordinators out there, because they're all, if you even have a decent offensive mind, you're a head coach right now.
Yeah.
So it could be a while before we see those guys get it.
My problem is, are these guys, I don't want to necessarily say qualified, but being a head coach is more than just running the offense, because Daniel Hackett was an offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. LaFleur was the play caller, but he was the offensive coordinator. He got the head coaching job with the Denver Broncos. He didn't know how to be a head coach. A head coach is running the whole show. That's one of the problems that some Cleveland Browns fans have with Stefanski. He's good at the offensive side, especially those first drives of the game. But like, what about the overall picture? What about the overall temperature of the locker room? What about all the small little details? Those are the kind of things that I will be worried about if I was a general manager or ownership, of just simply hiring, hey, I'm going to hire Justin Kenner. He's the assistant quarterback coach of the assistant of the assistant. He has a great offensive mind. Well, what about his people skills? What about his ability to delegate? What about all these other things that are important to running the whole entire organization?
All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Some people that were kind of chiming in on this. I'm trying to find a couple. Like Ron Howard says, Dan Quinn is gone. Well, Ron, you say Dan Quinn is gone. Gone where? Where's he going to go as far as that's concerned? So, in talking about this, Damon Hahn says Lou is great at adjustments in games, so I would give him a shot. I sometimes think, I'm not questioning you, Damon. I'm just saying I think we just say things because we hear it on TV. But, it's interesting. Peyton Manning comes out and says that he laughs when people say, oh, coaches make adjustments at halftime, or they make adjustments here. I mean, I guess adjustments as far as, hey, they're seeing something, so they're calling something, but they're reacting to stuff, which is making adjustments. But every coordinator's doing that. But he laughed. He goes, this idea that the biggest myth out there is that halftime adjustments are made. He goes, we go into the locker room. He goes, we use the restroom. We kind of drink some Gatorade. We do whatever. And then we go, we kind of screw around and go back out to the, he just said, there's not a lot of adjustments you can make at halftime other than just talking about some things that you're seeing. Also, if you see something you need to make an adjustment on, you're not waiting until the second half to make it. You're going to make it right then and there. So I don't know, but I get what you're saying. Any coach that sees something and can make changes on the fly because of what they're seeing, and not saying, well, no, we practiced this all week. This is what we're doing.
Facts. I despise that, because if you're truly waiting till halftime, you're waiting too long. What are you doing on the sideline in between series? Guess what? Your offense or your defense isn't on the field the entire game. There's a break in there sometimes. So you have assistants in the booth They're seeing things that you're not seeing at field level. Maybe they saw an injury to a player that went out, a DB that went out. They put a rookie in there. Like, all right, let's call the double move. Like, those are called adjustments as well. But something I want to ask you, out of these head coaching openings, what's the best? Arizona Cardinals, Houston Texans, Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, Carolina Panthers. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
The Bears? No, they're head coach. They're not. Their job's not open. I know that sounds funny, but Texans. I know it sounds really weird. The Texans. They have the most draft picks. They have an open checkbook right now. If you go take over Arizona, yes, you have a quarterback in Kyler Murray, but you're strapped. There's not a lot of big changes you can make because of the financial situation there. Carolina is up there. They're in the actually to be Carolina and Houston. I'd put in the same, but Houston has the number 2 or number 1. What do they have? The number 2 overall pick. They can get there. Look, we've seen with how quickly things turn around. It's because of the draft, and once you get your quarterback in the draft, and you have all that money to spend, and you could build around that quarterback. If they get C.J. Stroud, and then they go and they spend all their money on top weapons, free agents, and they put an offensive line, the Texans could be a major playoff contender, especially in the NFC, within the next 2 years. The Bengals were a joke. I mean, everyone, I was just leading the parade, but I mean, there was a lot of people in the parade behind me as far as piling on the Bengals. Kev, they won 2 games 1 year, 4 the next, and in the Super Bowl by year 3. So things turn around quickly, and it's not because the Bengals all of a sudden started, all of a sudden everyone developed it's because they had to go draft good players, and I think that's what Houston has that opportunity to do it. Carolina is right up there with them though, because they have some top draft picks as well. But it all comes down to the teams that have the biggest opportunity to get that quarterback. Denver, I don't trust that situation because you're just relying on all of a sudden Russell Wilson to be so bad one year and just great the next, unless there was an injury that we weren't made aware of. That's weird. That's a lot to gamble on to hope that he just gets it from one season to the next. We'll see. But I say Houston just because of the draft picks and the opportunity, and that organization's kind of crap. But the Bengals were considered that too. They got their quarterback, and they haven't looked back since. So we'll see.
I would say Houston's dealing with a different load of crap.
There's a lot of I don't even know how to call that, but yeah.
My inkling is to say Indianapolis Colts because they have everything else in place. And they've been searching for the quarterback position for quite some time now. Obviously, with Andrew Luck retiring, they brought in Phillip Rivers. He got him to the playoffs, and then they brought in Carson Wentz, and and then they brought in Matty Ice. So I think now they're finally going to, quote unquote, bite the bullet and try to reset and get a young quarterback, or they're going to be in a Derek Carr sweepstakes. I want to say the Colts, but I think it's the Panthers because, like what you said, I think they have a lot of cap space. I think they got some draft picks they can really use. So, I mean, I think everybody's saying Sean Payton is the number 1 guy out there. So out of those spots, you're Sean Payton. Where are you going? Because I think it's different. I think it's different for every coach.
If Houston gives him full, because that's what he wants, is he wants hands on everything. Houston could still be that spot for him, especially in the NFC. He's comfortable there. Houston's in the AFC. They're in the NFC. No, they're not. No, where the heck's Houston? My fault. You're right. Why do they? Anyways, my bad on that. But well, see, that is tougher too. You go into the AFC then, but it's not the greatest division. But the Colts can flip that switch and figure it out pretty quick. Carolina and Houston, I think, are the 2 most interesting. But again, it just comes down to who gets that quarterback. If C.J. Stroud's the real deal, we believe he is, more so than Bryce Young. I'm not a big Bryce Young guy. I just think that how many short quarterbacks you have to draft before you realize, hey, this isn't working. Like that's it's as simple as that. Coming from a short dude myself, like we have limitations. I'm telling you, it stinks. But they get C.J. Stroud and he's the real deal. You put an O-line and give him a couple weapons and look out, especially if you get Sean Payton. But they've spent some money. They've made what they paid Rule a stupid amount of money. They're willing to pay their head coaches. If they paid that much money for Rule, what will they do to get Sean Payton? That's going to be the other thing. He wants 15 to 20 mil a year. Is any coach worth that?
I guess. This is going to sound crazy. I'm not sure Sean Payton is worth it for some teams. For some teams, yes. Other teams, no. For a Chargers, yes. For a Texans, yes. For the Colts, no.
Cowboys,
no. I'm going to say no because I think McCarthy did a good job this season. I won't say he saved his job because they had the same record as they did the year before, but you didn't have those blunders. So I'm going to chalk those time management blunders up to him being out of coaching for a couple years. I'm going to chalk that up to that. But there is definitely a serious conversation needs to be had with Dak Prescott and their offensive coordinator. Like, y'all got to get on the same page. If it's, hey, man, we got to bootleg more to give you more run pass options, you're going to have to do that. But I'm just not sure Sean Payton is worth $15 million to every team out there. I don't think every team needs to go that far.
So I thought to the Chargers he was worth that because
Yes.
you have the quarterback.
Yes.
But at the same time, Zach Taylor wasn't any good till he got the quarterback. Like, I think every coach out there, you're only as good as your quarterback is, unless you are ahead of the Chargers, who has the quarterback and literally the coach loses your team games. Decision-making by the coach loses his team games. Like that Staley for the Chargers, how Staley is still employed is just beyond me. I mean,
Fired the OC. That's how it goes. You get on the hot seat, you fire the other guy. Hey, man, we weren't converting third downs because of the OC. So this is hot seat year. Here's a prediction for you. Sean Payton does not coach this upcoming season. I say he waits it out another season to see what happens with the Chargers or who has the number one pick for the following year. He has a man crush on Caleb Williams. I think that's his play. I think he waits to see what happens with the Chargers or see who has the number one pick so he can draft Caleb Williams.
And keep in mind, too, the money that's booming in media. There's all this shift in media guys, too. I mean, he could be using this as a way to get more money out of the media side, and it could be a win-win. He can go get that 15 to 20 mil from a media partner. I don't know what he's getting paid by Fox, but I'm just saying, like, that could be an interesting route to go. William Yelly believes he's going to Denver. I honestly think Denver is the worst of all those scenarios. I would go to Houston before Denver. Russell Wilson could flip the switch and turn it around next year. Great. You're an 8 to 9 win team and you're out in the wild card round. I don't know, like you're locked. You have no stability, or you have no flexibility financially moving forward because of everything going to Russell Wilson, which, okay, fine. But you have no weapons around him, no good quality draft picks around him. It's a very complicated situation over there in Denver moving forward. But you're right, William. He probably could. I mean, I guess if he is following the quarterback, he might think he could fix him. But even if you fix him, what's around him and what can you go get? You're limited as far as those resources are concerned.
Because he, quote unquote, fixed Drew Brees. People think that Drew Brees only played for New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees played for the San Diego Chargers. Drew Brees played with LaDainian Tomlinson. They drafted Phillip Rivers to replace him. And then he broke his elbow or whatever. Failed his physical because he was going to go to Miami with Nick Saban. He failed his physical, and then he went to the Saints and got with Sean Payton, ultimately Hall of Fame career, Super Bowl MVP. So if it's anybody that could fix him, it got to be Sean Payton.
William says the defense is legit, Kenner. I'm like, well, the Cowboys defense was legit last night. Oofa.
Got to be able to put points on the board. You got to be able to score 25, man. 25 plus a game, man, to win in this league, man. And the Cowboys, I mean, I know how good the 49ers defense is, but their defense played better. Their defense played better than the Niners, because they have more to deal with on the San Francisco 49ers. So the defense for the Cowboys, kudos, but Dak was bad. And I don't do the whole Dak was whack line, but Dak was not at all what he was supposed to be in that matchup.
Field Yates just tweeted out about 15 minutes ago, the Ravens have claimed cornerback Trayvon Mullen off waivers from the Cowboys. He was a 2019 second-round pick for the Raiders. They say this is significant because, for one, the Ravens need to add depth at cornerback, and also Mullen is the cousin of Lamar Jackson. That's where we're at now. That's where we're at now.
Hey, man, I can't laugh. I mean, how many brothers do we have on the Pittsburgh Steelers? We got 2 of the 3 Watt brothers. We got 2 of the 3 Hayward brothers on the Steelers. Terrell Edmonds, the linebacker for Buffalo Bills, is a free agent. We're probably going to try to sign him to team him up with his brother Edmonds, who plays safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
Oof. The thing is, all those family members you talk about, they're all elite. Lamar's elite, but I don't know this dude. But anyways, nonetheless. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Quarterback pressure rankings. We talked about that last week, and how do they live up to what Kevin and I said they needed to live up to this past weekend? We'll talk about that when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be cloudy, a high near 35. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy and cold, a low near 25. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. One of the most rewarding aspects of our jobs as tax preparers is that we have families that have used our services for generations. Laird's Tax and Accounting is a pioneer in our industry, being the first to offer new services. We stand behind your return if the IRS has questions. We know the tax code and can make the difficult task of making your tax filing easier. Relax. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
Make your dream a reality with Menards Mastercraft Door Designer. Choose from our in-stock selection of Mastercraft interior doors or design your door your way with our Door Designer. This feature allows you to visualize your doors within your home before making your purchase. Simply start designing and make your visions come to life. Mastercraft has the fastest delivery, so you get your door in approximately 7 days. Save big money on Mastercraft doors.
Save big money at Menards.
Ohio's educators make a difference in their students' lives every day. From classroom teachers to paraeducators, professors, bus drivers, school secretaries, custodians, and more. These are the people who have dedicated their lives to serving our kids and making our public schools great. And we want to say thank you. Join the Ohio Education Association in recognizing an education champion in your community. Go to ohea.org/education champions to submit your nomination now.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can find options that fit your budget, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh yeah, like when I hold the door for someone. Sure, it may be weird if I don't time it right, and they're a little too far away, and now they're running. And we're both asking ourselves, is it worth it to run instead of just, letting them open their own door?
But still, it's the right thing to do. So get options based on your needs with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize our strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their homes, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen said that the right elbow injury he suffered in the team's Week 9 loss to the New York Jets I can't even get through this without laughing, just because I just know everyone's just screaming at this article. ESPN just released this article about an hour ago. Buffalo Bills quarterback, yes, thank you. I think your elbow's going to hurt after doing that. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen said that the right elbow injury he suffered in the team's Week 9 loss to the New York Jets resulted in him having to change his throwing motion, and it wasn't until 2 weeks ago that he was able to get back to mechanically what he likes. Oh, well, take that back. He just sucked. That's just really what it came down to. I thought he was making an excuse. But Allen said that there are no plans for any off-season procedures or surgeries on the elbow, that rest and recovery is going to be really good for it. He downplayed the impact of the injury initially during a news conference on Monday as the Bills cleaned out their lockers following a season-ending 27-10 divisional round loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bills became the first preseason title favorite to not reach a conference championship game since the Seattle Seahawks in 2015. You see what you did, Josh Allen? You're now Russell Wilson. Congratulations. Nonetheless, I think that game yesterday, by the way, everyone out there just piling on Josh Allen. Like, his deficiencies caught up with him yesterday. Joe Burrow has deficiencies that could catch up with him at any point. I mean, they caught up with him in the Super Bowl last year. They caught up with him at the beginning of the season. At any point, they can catch up with you. I hate when we do this. If Joe Burrow plays poorly against the Kansas City Chiefs, Kev, it does not mean that Joe Burrow is a bad quarterback. It just means he played poorly. I don't think Josh Allen's a bad quarterback. I think that his deficiencies come and impact him from time to time. But this idea that if he hit the free agent market, that nobody would want him because of that performance yesterday, I don't know what to tell you. I think that was one of the best defensive performances from the Bengals we've seen all season, just in regards to how they took a quarterback and just made him uncomfortable from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. There was no point yesterday where he was comfortable. Right. And it really wasn't all about sacking the quarterback. It was the pressure that they put on him. And of course, the great secondary play from the Bengals. I see people just burying Josh Allen on there. And right away, Joe Burrow is definitely better than him. Maybe. I don't know, probably. But this idea that one game dictates the pecking order of the NFL is just kind of silly to me. Hell, Joe Burrow's beat Patrick Mahomes how many times?
3.
And no one's saying he's better than Patrick Mahomes. Some of y'all might be, but I'm not. Shocker, I know. But it's just interesting. But that's what makes football fun. Cowboys, oh, we're back, baby. How about them Cowboys? And now, I mean, my goodness, Stephen A. Smith had like 4 different outfits for all his shows today, poking fun at Michael Irvin and the Cowboys. Things change, and they change in a hurry. You're great one week, bad the next. Josh Allen, MVP, Super Bowl contender 1 week, and now the Bills need to tear it all down. I mean, give me a break. It fascinates me how the NFL operates.
Yeah.
How we operate.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be just crazy because less than a week, because their game was on Monday Night Football, and their game ended on Sunday. So in less than a week, they went from the hero to the GOAT, and I don't mean GOAT in a good way.
What's GOAT then, if it's not greatest of all time?
Bad.
Oh, bad. Okay. Oh, did you say bad or did you just bad?
Both.
You should have put the D at the end because that would have been well timed. Well played. I'm gonna pretend that you did. All right. Before we move on to some college stuff that just came across that I found very interesting. Last week, and this ties in with everything because I see some Eagles fans chiming in. Lots of Eagles fans, but no,
coming out the woodwork.
Fly Eagles fly. I know Keith Byers is happy. I know when he comes in for a show on Wednesday, he's gonna let me have it. I promise you that much. But we talked about the pressure that these quarterbacks were facing heading into this divisional round weekend. And there were some quarterbacks that had win or bust, and Josh Allen was definitely one of those. And we're seeing why based on the way the world's reacting today. Dak Prescott there, of course. And then there was some, house money type quarterbacks heading into this weekend. From what we talked about Friday to the results, I mean, how was some of what we talked about Friday matching up with what's unfolded since the divisional round matchups ended over the weekend?
Solid, because the two house money guys, they lost. And I don't think anybody feels any less about how they feel about Trevor Lawrence. I think they feel exactly the same, or maybe not even just a little bit better from their performance that they had going into Kansas City. Like they hung in the game. And for a second-year quarterback with a new head coach and a new system, yada, 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 they performed well offensively and defensively. They didn't have to deal with Patrick Mahomes the entire game, but they showed well for themselves, and they being the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then you look at Daniel Jones. I mean, Philly just was an onslaught from the word go. And I knew the game was over when Philadelphia went down on their first drive and scored, and the Giants got the ball back, and they went for it on their own 45-yard line. To me, that says, hey, man, we can't stop them, so we have to keep scoring. Now, I'm not going to knock Dayball for that. It is what it is. I don't think even if they would have scored on that drive that they would have won the football game. But that screamed, hey, man, we got to keep playing. We got to keep scoring, or even try to score to even hang in this game. They ultimately didn't pick up that fourth down. Philly goes right down. It goes 14 up, and I was like, that's a wrap. What's on Netflix? But I don't feel any worse about Daniel Jones. The Giants are going to offer him a contract in the offseason. He's perfectly fine.
When you say offer him a contract, what's that money?
I think it's not going to be obviously Patrick Mahomes or Watson level, but I think it'll be a fair contract, probably like a 3-year contract.
But you always talk about the market, though.
Right.
So that's why I'm curious, because sometimes it's like Baker, by the way, not going back to that on purpose here, but at the time it was, the market dictates that he gets paid this. Well, wouldn't it be the same for Daniel Jones, who technically has been more consistent than what Baker was during that run?
No. Daniel Jones has played one good year. Baker Mayfield had played
one good year.
I'll give Baker 2.5 good seasons. I say he played 2.5 good seasons with the Cleveland Browns. And going into that year where he was could have got an extension, he had played 2 good seasons. So Daniel Jones, he's not about to be out here getting $30-40 million. He'll probably get around 28.
So that's okay. See, because sometimes those Daniel Jones quarterbacks, that he's a terrifying quarterback to me. I would hate it if my team had him, because he's just good enough to win you games to where you think you're onto something, but he's just bad enough to be that Kirk Cousins, to be that Derek Carr. And by the way, there's our quarterbacks that aren't bad to have, but at times it's going to feel like you are running in place. The Giants tried offering a $13 million contract to Saquon Barkley, who turned it down, or it was 12 or 13 along those lines. He's looking in the market of what obviously the running back for the Niners that they just traded for. Why am I trying to play McCaffrey, and obviously Chubb, and he wants money like that. And I'm like, well, first of all, he's talented enough to get that, but this is the first full healthy season he's had since he's been in the NFL, which, by the way, he was drafted that same draft as Baker Mayfield. That's been a long time to be around. Yeah. And this is the first time that you've been healthy for a full season. That's interesting to me. But like I said, Daniel Jones is a terrifying quarterback, because but if you get him at that price range, it's not hard enough to move on or trade or whatever. Right. I mean, hell, if you can keep finding homes for what's his name, the former Eagles quarterback that been hopping all over the place, and Wentz, he went from here to there and there to there, and my goodness.
So then we got our one limbo guy. We got Brock Purdy. He didn't play well, but they won. And it's funny enough, I was watching that game. I was like, man, he's looking real Jimmy G-ish out here today. They're going to get the dub, but he's looking real Jimmy G-ish. So it's right in line with the San Francisco 49er quarterback. So he's obviously still in limbo. We don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know how good he is. Is it the system? Is it the players? The fact of the matter is he's a cog in the wheel, and they won as a team, and they're on to the NFC Championship, and that's why he is still in that limbo category, because we don't know even after this game.
So Brock Purdy, 214 yards, but no touchdowns, but no mistakes. You talk about Dak Prescott, who, my goodness, runs all over the field, makes these throws that Purdy doesn't and maybe can't. I don't know. But I think you'll take the Brock Purdy approach. Brock Purdy is actually safer than even the guy I like in Jimmy G, which if he comes back, that's going to be I think they said by the Super Bowl, he'd be back. they have a decision to make if that's the case. I mean, do you let porn star Jimmy come back and that's going to be, yeah, there's going to be one quarterback ahead of you, Jimmy. I keep Brock Purdy if that's the case, if they beat Philly.
But you got an experienced quarterback who's played in the Super Bowl, actually won a Super Bowl as a backup quarterback with San Francisco 49ers. If things go crazy wrong for the young quarterback, so it's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah, typical Bengals luck. They're going to face a one-footed Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy to get their Super Bowl. But Purdy has to get through the Eagles first. Now,
yeah, buddy.
This is the first time. I mean, that was the worst game that Purdy's ever played with the Niners, and they still won.
Yeah.
That was the worst game that Purdy's ever played, and he didn't turn the ball over, and he was sacked twice. Okay, fine. They leaned into the run game. McCaffrey, had 10 carries, 35 yards, but also, McCaffrey 6 catches, 22 yards, and was able to make plays. He scored a touchdown. That was was not a pretty offensive game at all. But I think so. Purdy, are you a believer in him or not? I don't know yet.
I am still in limbo.
He wins this game though. Game manager style or not, you beat Philly in Philly. And how many games have they haven't lost since he's taken over? They've only gotten better. I mean, my goodness,
9 in a row.
So
9 in a row.
It'd be interesting if it does end up being the Niners and the Bengals, both to have double-digit win streaks heading into that. That's pretty
scary hours,
and that's pretty impressive because both teams just drastically different as far as how they're built. It would be interesting to see how that goes. Brad Shell on Facebook says Purdy played against an okay defense with Dallas.
Nah.
No, I disagree. But the Eagles get after the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Got some werewolves out there.
Some werewolves. My goodness.
So we got our better win or else category. That was Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. And they are a better win or else for 2 different reasons for me. Better win or else for Jalen Hurts is because, hey, man, you were in an MVP discussion. You're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They said anybody could run this offense. Minshew came in there and proved that he could not run this offense as well as you did. And then what did you guys come out do? You came out and smacked the Giants. You got your business done early. You were sitting on the bench with your hat on watching like you did a lot of this football season. So kudos to Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Then you look at Joe Burrow and the Bengals better win or else situation. It's not because of you being the number 1 seed like Philly. It's because of the talking. It's because of the coin flip. It's because of the talking. It's because of everybody ready to anoint you. So to live up to the hype, you had to at least get to the AFC Championship game. He balled out of control. The offensive line balled out of control. The defense balled out of control. The team balled out of control. So the better winner else guys both got it done.
Yeah, and again, I think Cincinnati's one of those that you're right. If they didn't talk as much, because that's my problem with them, is they just talk way too damn much. You said let everyone else anoint you. They've anointed themselves. That's why I can't stand them. Like, let everyone else do it. I'm sure, knowing me, I'd still find a problem with it somewhere. But, I could say, oh, well, they got to the back-to-back AFC Championship games. If they lose to the Chiefs, okay, whatever, still a great season. And it would still be a solid season. But you have an opportunity that really not a lot of teams in this playoff do right now outside of Philly, where you have a dominant up-and-coming quarterback on a rookie deal and weapons galore. This may be the most stacked roster you play on moving forward. You better capitalize on it. You better take advantage of it. And although they have a chance to get back to their second straight Super Bowl, at the end of the day, with all this talent, if they end up not winning one in Joe Burrow's rookie contract run, I believe that would be a huge failure for the Bengals. And I think that they have a very good chance to win it this year. Don't get me wrong. But it's not just a win it or bust type of situation. I think now, after what we've seen, after they dominated Buffalo at Buffalo, now all of a sudden, the Buffalo Bills were a Super Bowl contender. You dominated them at Buffalo. Now you can't go to Kansas City and lose and just say, well, it was a great season. No, now it's like you've put even more pressure on yourself.
Are all these teams in a win it or bust situation?
The Niners have that weird
limbo.
Purdy is a great quarterback for them because if they win, it's a great story because we won with this Mr. Irrelevant. Mm-hmm. And if you lose, well, this guy, I don't even know who the hell he was coming into the season.
They're writing a Disney movie as we speak, just in case.
So, Jody Van Winkle said, supreme confidence, kind of like the great Pete Rose. Well, until they start winning like a championships like Pete Rose. I mean, right now, you're just being cocky for no reason. So I'm just saying that let your game anoint you, let the fans anoint you. I don't like teams who anoint themselves, but if they back it up, I got nothing to say.
Yeah, you got to back it up. So now that brings us to our final category, must win. And the must win guys are in a bad spot. Josh Allen played like crap And much of that was because the Cincinnati Bengals defense played like crap. Was not good on Sunday. Then Dak played even worse than Josh Allen. And the reason Dak is on here is he is the quarterback of America's team. I may hate saying it. You may, well, you are a bad Dallas Cowboys fan, so you probably do like saying it. But and I say the royal we may hate the fact that they called Dallas Cowboys America's team. That's what they are. I know way more Dallas Cowboys fans than anybody else outside of Bengals and Browns fans. I know way more Dallas Cowboys fans. But I mean, I live in Ohio, so obviously I would run into more Bengals and Browns fans. So when you're the quarterback of that franchise, the pressure is on. And then the performance that he went out there and stunk up the joint with, yikes, very bad. So then we have the one guy left, Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't play a series. The team goes down there and scores on the 90-something yard drive with the backup quarterback. And then I thought he wasn't going to play the second half. I was like, well, they just scored on a 90-something yard drive. Might as well go ahead and put his foot in a bucket of ice. But he came back out and played the second half. He was hopping around out there on one leg. Very scary hours. Might not want to do that, but they ultimately got the dub. But so 2 of the 3 must-win guys lost.
So Patrick Mahomes is one of them interesting ones because he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those where even if he loses, he's going to be a second MVP most likely.
Yeah.
He's won a Super Bowl already. His 5th straight appearance in the AFC title game. It's one of those where he's so great. I know this sounds so dumb, but like if he doesn't win on Saturday or Sunday, it's like, I don't think his reputation takes a hit. I know that he's like so great because he keeps accomplishing all these things. Like at the end of it's an MVP. The Chiefs, it's probably a bum for them, but by the way, were you surprised he went back out? Especially after they scored. After they scored, that was more of a reason to, if they didn't score, it'd be like, okay, we need to get him back out there and at least see. But because they scored, I changed this very quickly. My bad. If they didn't score, you want to put, but because they scored, it's like, well, let's just kind of ride this out. As a Browns fan, I had PTSD, by the way. He cost me a steak dinner. The good old Chad Henne. Yeah, he cost me a steak dinner from Jason Fitz a couple years ago. Cleveland couldn't. I mean, Henne is just amazing. He's what 2-0 when he appears for the Chiefs in the playoffs. I mean, good for him. I just didn't think they needed to roll him back out there, but I mean, I think that speaks volumes about Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think that if they were I would think we were all confident they could still win that football game. But I think that does say a lot about Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, that I think they respected them enough to know that, okay, even though we did just put this extra touchdown on the board, a 92-yard drive, I think we still need to treat this as a must win, because if not, you don't want to give the Jags that confidence. And maybe the Jags do get that confidence if he's out, and they didn't want them to have that chance. So I thought that was very interesting. I think if he loses, we're not talking differently about Patrick Mahomes on Monday, but maybe we are because of who he loses to.
Depends on the performance. If he performs like he did in the second half of last year's AFC Championship game, people will be like, wait a minute, is this the second coming of Aaron Rodgers? Is this where he balls out of control during the regular season and then comes up small in the biggest moment? Like, that's how quick the narrative changes. We saw it with Dak Prescott, Monday Night Football. Oh, Dak is here. And then we found out Dak was gone.
And true, the other good thing that happened for Patrick Mahomes, that damn ankle. That ankle. I mean, that is going to be something that to be fair, if he throws for like 300-something yards, if he throws for like 300-something yards and multiple touchdowns and looks great and loses, can't use the ankle as an excuse. But he did not. I mean, he overthrew some guys. He wasn't making them same crazy throws, those circus throws that he was making in that, throughout his career. Again, I'm kind of with you. It's like I'm holding out to see where my pick lies with the Bengals Chiefs heading into this weekend, depending on the updates that we continue to get. According to Andy Reid, though, he just tweaked it.
A tweak. So harder game to pick, AFC Championship or NFC Championship?
That's hard.
I have no idea.
Help us out on that. We only have about 10 minutes of the show left. We're going to step away for a few moments. 518-1410 or on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Jump in the comment section there. Which game is harder to pick? See, we're not going to get a true value, though, because Bengals fans are so confident. I mean, they have Joe Burrow. They may never lose a football game again. They may never lose again. The NFL is going to fold because it's the Bengals league, and it's just not fair to other teams to play because they got Joe Burrow. I mean, who knows? Which game is tougher to pick? There's a lot of variables. There's so many variables here that play a role in how to determine this. But 518-1410, we'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, Ohio, Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash with you here to let you know that the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in Ohio just in time for the NFL playoffs. And new customers in Ohio can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Kinner, Kinner. Finally, you can bet on all of your favorite sports with everything from the money line to point spreads to player props or my personal favorite, in-game parlays. So go ahead and win some bucks in the Buckeye State, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Dayton area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Sometimes the best time to prune trees is when they're dormant or with no leaves on them. For ISA certified arborists, it helps them see what branches may need to be pruned or removed. Dormant season pruning can also help lessen problems associated with insects and diseases and help create structurally stronger trees that can better handle heavy wet snows or ice buildup. Contact an ISA certified arborist to get the best professional advice on keeping your trees healthy and safe. Go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, 4, ohio.org.
Why have over 2 million people trusted their bath remodels to Bathfitter? When a normal day is anything but normal, we fit your schedule with our unique tub-over-tub process installed in just a day with no demolition. When high quality is the only quality that matters, we fit your standards. We've been remodeling baths for over 35 years, and every bath we install comes with a lifetime warranty. Get the bath you want in a day with quality that lasts a lifetime. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
Here at Roosters, we're not just a fun casual joint. We're a family. No matter who we are serving, our guests or our community, we strive to better the lives of those around us. Whether it's aiding in the battle against cancer, helping to educate the next generation, or simply putting a smile on someone's face, the Roosters Foundation has helped raise over $1 million annually for local charities. Our community has given us so much. This is the least we can do. Roosters, we're a fun, casual joint, but so much more.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
You're just not used to hosting the show this late into the day, are you? That's right. So when you were out earlier, I did like the first 5 minutes of a segment with the wrong mic.
Oh.
And sometimes I don't look at the comments because I let it distract me at times. But other times I read it. I didn't read it that time, so I went a full 5 minutes. Hottest of takes. It was the best delivery ever. No one heard a thing. That's why they're like, yeah, it was your best take. Kinner's at his best when you can't hear him.
The hottest of the hot.
My goodness. We welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. How about Ohio State on the basketball side of things, ending their losing streak over the weekend against Iowa?
Finally.
That is interesting nonetheless. We talked about it last week as well. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, narrowing his list down to USC, Oregon, and Ohio State. Chris Holtman's name is being brought up for the Texas job, by the way.
Really?
I find that, and look, can you recruit? The X's and O's thing is being questioned with Chris Holtman, but the recruiting side of things, he has the top 5 draft class. He has the top 6. He has a top 6 recruiting class for the next 2 years already. And as good as he's been as head coach of the Buckeyes, although some are criticizing him, this is the best 2 recruiting classes he has coming up. So, and this was a very good one this year that he has coming in. So again, it's only as good as if you can keep the classes together and all that. And Sensabaugh could be heading to the NBA after 1 year. But it's interesting though. A lot of one and dones for Ohio State over the last couple of years, or at least guys, going to the NBA early. They haven't been able to maximize it. Dayton
really could use Markel Bradham this year.
They can use, they're young. I think sometimes that's really what it comes down. No one wants to hear that. But they've lost, they haven't been getting blown out.
Oh, no.
They lose close games. And a lot of it is they go on these scoring droughts. And a lot of it is some of these freshmen, the moment becomes big and they look like freshmen at times. But yeah, they could have used some of these dudes to stick around another year. That's for sure. Now
he's bouncing from, I don't even think he's made an appearance with the Spurs. I think he's still in the G League.
This is where I thought NIL would help in college basketball more for teams like Ohio State, as far as being able to keep guys like that around for just one more year. Who knows? But like Sensabaugh, can he stay one more year if NIL is right? But I have a hard time believing in a school like Ohio State, unless your name is Bronny James. I have a hard time with believing that these collectives, I think every dime of these collectives is going to be to help that football side of thing. Like I have a hard time believing that outside of Bronny James, that if Ohio State's struggling to collect enough with these collectives to support a football team, that they're going to let the basketball team dip it. And I could be wrong on that. I don't know how this works. I don't know how much, if these collectives, Kev, have a certain pool of money for the women's basketball, for some of the women's other women's sports, for baseball, for basketball. I don't know how much of that.
Part of it is being a part of a collective. They're going to help you find those other opportunities with a,
like an agent?
Yeah, like a Chipotle that's in your college town, or an Express. Like they're gonna do that for you. So signing to a collective doesn't always mean all right, we're giving you X amount of dollars. We're gonna help you earn X amount of dollars based off your name, image, and likeness, and obviously your performance on the court or field of play. All
right. So a little bit ago, we asked the question: which AFC or NFC championship game? Which game is harder to predict heading into this weekend? And does the Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes being hurt help or hurt the prediction for that? Because you keep saying we need to wait till we get further in the week, and I'm with you. Andy Reid's coming out saying he tweaked it. Folks, if you all watched that game, which I know you all did, that didn't look like a tweak.
He good.
Now, and you also can't tell. I don't know what they did to that ankle at halftime, but he could barely walk on it in the first half, and all of a sudden he's just putting all that Patrick Mahomes weight on it. He got a shot of something. I don't know what, but my goodness. That one's tough to predict because of that element, not knowing how severe that injury is. And we may not know the full capacity of it. But then you look at the two defenses on the other side for Philly and the Niners, that one's just as difficult. Ron Howard messages in. He goes, the NFC hands down defensive battle. He thinks that's the hardest game to predict for this coming up weekend. Brad Shell says Eagles Niners, it's going to be the toughest to predict. Jody Van Winkle, he said the NFC. Now I know why Jody is saying the NFC, because he's fully confident that Houday is going to come out on top there. Who knows?
Man, for me, as of today, I'm going to say the NFC, because I think we're going to see a matchup of two very good defenses, and we're going to have to see Jalen Hurts get hit. He didn't get hit versus the Giants. He got hit in that last game of the regular season because he's trying to knock the rust off, but we're going to see how healthy he is, that shoulder. So he's going to have to run the ball, because before it was hand off to Miles Sanders, 5 yards, hand off to Miles Sanders, 15 yards. Just, hey, man, they could do whatever they want. But in this matchup against that aggressive 49ers defense, they're going to make him run the ball so they can light him up, and then they're going to make him beat them through the air with his arm. So I think on the flip side of that, like everybody knows, Philadelphia gets after the quarterback. So we got to see Purdy make some throws. He made one very good throw yesterday, but he's going to have to make at least 5 this upcoming weekend.
Last thing we'll have, and appreciate all the interaction today on the NFL side. Look, we'll have a lot more NFL talk throughout the week, that's for sure. But last thing as we close this out on the college side, that kind of bleeds into the NFL a little bit, Kev. Pro Football Focus, they updated their big board, if you will, top 10 prospects in the 2023 draft. You talked a little bit ago. Yes, there we go. It's almost draft season. So with that being said, Bryce Young, they have as their number 1 prospect. Jalen Crutcher out of Georgia. Jalen Crutcher, sorry, I got UD on my mind. My bad. Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle from Georgia, at number 2. Will Levis comes in at number 3, the quarterback from Kentucky. CJ Stroud comes in at number 4, or at number 5, behind Will Anderson from Alabama, the edge rusher, at number 4. So we talked earlier about what some of these jobs, what are, you look at some of these players right here. My goodness, the Bears. Do any of these players, not quarterback, are they good enough to go number 1 overall? That's worth the number 1 overall pick. You look at the NFC, AFC championships coming up. Look at the pass rushers all over the place. That's very, very important. And to get a dominant one on a rookie deal, Kev, when that's a very expensive position to go after. Is there a Myles Garrett in this draft? Is there a Jadeveon Clowney, who, by the way, I know didn't pan out to be a dominant NFL pass rusher, a very, very good one, but that big name out of college coming out. Are any of these names, not quarterbacks for the Bears, good enough to be worthy of that number 1 overall pick, or should they look to trade?
They should look to trade. If they trade down to maybe like the 4 or 5 spot, they probably can still go ahead and get the guy that they want and get more picks for that. But if they don't trade down, it's going to be Will Anderson. He's the outside linebacker, rush in, whatever you want to call him, from Alabama. He'll get after the quarterback. That is kind of like the quote-unquote safest pick. But I think they want to trade down, because if Justin Fields is their quarterback of the future, obviously not going to take CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. So you go after the pass rusher. I don't think as of right now, there's some good offensive linemen in the draft, but I don't think there's any Orlando Paces out there or things of that nature. So those are guys you can probably get in the 10 to 15 range. So I would try to trade back, get another 1st-round pick or another 2nd-round pick to go along with all the other picks I got, and go super young and get some playmakers for Justin Fields, because you'll be able to get Jackson Smith and Jigba. You'll be able to get a Jordan Addison probably around 15, 16, 17 in that range.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Colts. If I'm the Bears, like, the Bears want to move back, but they can get their 1st-round pick and another 1st-round pick. They would like to get a couple of these if they could. They need some pass. That defense, if you could build the defense on the draft and spend all your money on offense, I think that's really where it's going to be at for the Chicago Bears. I like the way the Browns did it years ago, or at least I thought I did, where, hey, they drafted everything on the defensive end and they spent all their money on the offensive end. I like that. Because I know all, and I'm wrong all the time, criticized the Bengals because I thought that, hey, they're going half-ass on both sides of the ball too much. You need to go all in on one side. Well, they did it the opposite. They drafted everything on offense. They drafted T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. They drafted, obviously, Jamar Chase. And then they put all their money, Mike Hilton, Hendrickson. They went all in on the, DJ Reader. They went all in on the offensive side of the ball. And then, of course, Lawson and some of these other guys, they complemented it in the draft as well. So, I don't know. The Bears could turn it around quick, but they have to give Justin Fields some help. That's for sure. Folks, appreciate you. Have a great night. We'll do this again tomorrow. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz will join us for his weekly visit, of course, and that's what we have on deck for you guys on tomorrow's show, nonetheless. And we'll get into some Reds talk tomorrow as well. I know some of you can't wait to talk about the second best team in Cincinnati, whatever that means. We'll be right back. Actually, we won't be back. We'll be back tomorrow, though. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC